But we're here to help you save big. Book now and lock in up to $3,000 off in savings. That's $3,000 off any new installation. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com to schedule your free estimate today. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Fraud is rampant, and those on Medicare are targets. Medicare never makes cold calls, so when someone calls you and says they're from Medicare, hang up. If you get an offer for free medical equipment or services, toss it. When you get your medical statement, read it. And if anything looks suspicious, report it to the Senior Medicare Patrol with Sheba. Sheba is a free, unbiased service of the Washington State Office of the Insurance Commissioner. If you suspect fraud, search Medicare Sheba or call 800-562-6900.
Summer is fast approaching, and it's a great time to get ready for the busy season with help from WaFd Bank. They offer services like Collect Early, which opens your cash flow for the things you need, like hiring summer staff or expanding your product line. Collect Early helps you get your invoices paid in hours, not weeks. What could your business do with more money? Take things to the next level with WaFd Bank and find bankers with the knowledge and services to meet your business goals. WaFd Bank, built for business. WaFdBank.com, member FDIC.
This Thursday through Sunday, four-time Grammy winner Eliane Elias brings her Brazilian brilliance to Dimitro's Jazz Alley. Don't miss 6 shows of stunning piano, sultry vocals, and unforgettable rhythm. Tickets at jazzalley.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM, and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Steve Kathan. Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth assesses the U.S. strikes on nuclear sites in Iran.
The reality is you want to call it destroyed, you want to call it defeated, you want to call it obliterated. Choose your word.
CBS's Olivia Rinaldi at the White House.
Clearly, the president was watching this press conference closely. He posted on True Social just shortly after it ended, calling it one of the greatest, most professional, and most, quote, confirming news conferences the president has ever seen. This comes after this White House and the defense secretary have really been working to discredit some media reports about a low intelligence assessment that said that the attacks on Fordow had only impacted what the Iran nuclear program could achieve by a few months.
Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, spoke publicly for the first time in weeks today, saying the U.S. attacks did not achieve anything significant. The UN says centrifuges at least one location are no longer operational. Israeli officials have temporarily halted aid supplies to Gaza to keep them out of the hands of Hamas. Reporter Linda Gradstein in Jerusalem.
Israeli press reports said the aid cutoff came after images circulated on social media of masked men on aid trucks, and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered the army to present a plan within 2 days to prevent Hamas from taking control of the aid.
Back here at home, the Supreme Court says Planned Parenthood cannot sue South Carolina for being defunded by the state. Legal analyst Lori Levinson.
By saying that these individuals could not sue the state of South Carolina, who had decided that they would not give Medicaid funds to Planned Parenthood, the state was basically saying, we don't want to give the money to Planned Parenthood because, among other services, they provide abortions.
The vaccine panel appointed by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has voted to recommend a new RSV shot for infants. To Gary, Indiana, where 5 people were killed when a train collided with a car.
The South Shoreline train carrying 32 passengers was traveling eastbound when it struck a car that had gone around the gates at the intersection of US 12 and 7th Street. All 5 people in the car were killed. No one on the train was injured. South Shoreline President Michael Nolan confirms the gates had come down.
Never, ever attempt to cross railroad tracks when signals are activated. Always expect a train on any track from any direction at any time.
The South Shore Line has resumed its normal schedule. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
And checking Wall Street, right now the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 300 points. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people
At O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Machetes in homeless camps. The story coming up. But first, from the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk. In the South Center area, road crews are blocking a lane as they repair a barrier on I-5 southbound at I-405. That's about your only issue out there, and your travel times are a little better than usual for this time of day. Travel time Everett to Seattle, 45 minutes. Federal Way to Seattle, 55. Renton to Bellevue, 40. Still waiting for your lake bridges to clear out. Traffic brought to you by Subaru of Puyallup. Subaru of Puyallup has you covered with over 300 new Subarus on the lot. Come in now so you can secure today's pricing on tomorrow's cars.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Investigators are working to determine what caused a boat to catch fire at a marina, sending huge plumes of smoke above Seattle's Lake Union. Witnesses say
we felt a ginormous explosion. The windows kind of came in a little bit.
The fire spread to the marina. Fire crews called in a second alarm yesterday and worked from land and sea. The boat sank, no one injured. The Coast Guard is working today to clean up and contain any pollution. Seattle police are investigating 2 separate attacks at local homeless camps. Tuesday night, police say a man slashed a person near Lake City's Albert Davis Park. The victim suffered minor injuries. Just last week, a man with a homemade spear attacked an officer who was cleaning up a homeless camp in the Queen Anne Greenbelt.
He armed himself with this long metal pole with a 5-inch blade on the end and then lunged at an officer, and it went through his jacket. The spear struck the officer in the abdomen.
Casey McNerthney with the King County Prosecutor's Office. He says the cop's vest kept him from being injured. Washington State is going to pay a protester injured during a 2020 George Floyd demonstration $825,000. The state trooper fired a rubber bullet hitting Nikita Tarver in the eye. The state attorney general's office says the settlement does not admit fault. Some Seattle city leaders want to overhaul the city's B&O tax to help smaller businesses, but the proposal is not without controversy.
Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell, alongside City Council member Alexis Mercedes Rink, proposing cuts for small and medium-sized businesses alongside a tax hike for corporations. Councilmember Rink.
We're asking the largest corporations to pay their fair share, and we're asking them to contribute to the community that made their success possible.
The Downtown Seattle Association likens the tax change to a self-inflicted wound. Here's President John Scholes.
We've seen Amazon, move a lot of jobs outside of Seattle and grow elsewhere. We hope that that's not the choice that many other companies are faced with.
Gwen Baumgartner, KIRO News Radio.
The Seahawks are bringing back a familiar face.
Murray lets it fly. Harrison Jr. can't get it picked off. Shaq Griffin.
Cornerback Shaq Griffin is rejoining Seattle on a 1-year deal. Griffin started his career here in 2017 and made the Pro Bowl in 2019. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Cloudy skies today with highs in the mid-60s. It is 60 right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio App. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
It is the Gee and Ursula Show. Happy Thursday, June 26th. I missed this show so much, Ursula. I missed this show more than anybody has ever. Huge way of missing this show. I could not. Huge.
So much so that you just decided you were going to get well within 24 hours. Because, man, the last time you were here, it was pathetic. You were in such bad shape. We all felt so bad for you. People were like, is G okay? I answered that question about 1,000 times.
So here's the thing. You very blunt like, G, are you sure? Are you okay? I'm like, oh, I'm making it. And this is off the air. We come back on. I don't think I realized how bad I was until I walked in this morning and everybody's like, oh, G, are you okay?
We thought this was going to be a 2-weeker.
Look, it is good to be back. I got to tell you, I'm being serious. At 9:47, I'm going to tell you something that came over me yesterday. Something that I really think it's important to share. And I hope that someone listening can relate to this because it was a doozy. And when it hit me yesterday and it made me realize something about myself, it made me say that I have to do some things different.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, coming up at 9:30, new tolls are going to be coming our way. The tolling system is getting a major makeover, and our transportation expert, Chris Sullivan, is going to join us shortly after 9:30 to explain how this is going to impact all of us. As always, we invite you to join us on our text line, 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO.
Let's get to it. Ursula's top stories of the day, brought to you by Beth Fitter Northwest.
Small business owners in Seattle could be in line for a big tax break. The city is now floating a new tax plan that would wipe out business taxes for most small and mid-sized companies and then lower the bill for thousands more. But there is a catch. The biggest businesses in Seattle would have to pick up the slack. Mayor Bruce Harrell and Councilmember Alexis Mercedes Rink want to raise the city's B&O tax exemption from $100,000 to $2 million. That means about 76% of Seattle's businesses, around 16,500 in all, would not owe a dime under this tax. And according to the mayor's office, about 90% of all businesses would actually see their tax bill shrink. But again, there is a catch. Someone is going to have to foot the bill. This plan would also increase the tax rates on the biggest earners. For example, retail, wholesale, manufacturing companies, they would go from paying 22 cents to 34 cents per $100 in taxable receipts. Seattle Downtown Association CEO John Scholes calls this is a quote, a boneheaded proposal of epic proportions. He says it could make it even harder to lure businesses back to downtown and could end up shifting more of the tax burden onto residents. Seattle voters could get a chance to weigh in on all of this because this proposal could be headed to the ballot later this year.
The wealthiest individuals and companies here in the state, and by the way, when they're thinking, and I love John Scholes. I think he's coming on the show today.
He is, 10:30.
Hey, John, before you come on, I just want to let you know, I love you, man. But I understand how you have to talk. I understand your role because at the end of the day, see, I can talk the way I want to. I can say what Amazon has been doing to this state. I can say and sit here and say how the top 1% in this state hold a significant portion of the state's wealth. And the question is going to be this. The question is when is it going to stop? Because we know that the top 1% continue to benefit disproportionately from the current economic system right now. And that current economic system is this. There is no state income tax. And right now, a heavy load of the burden, by the way, you guys had a great show yesterday, or no, I think it was Monday when you had Hill Harper on talking about the small businesses that are impacted by the B&O tax and all of the things they have to pay. And then we have those that are also disproportionately taxed in this. So my question would be this, Ursula. When is it going to stop? Because we can't keep doing this. You can't not tax the top 1%, and then you can't not have an income tax. And then you would, on the top 5, Ursula's deal, oh, another tax. Aren't we tired of that?
Yeah. I mean, we keep talking about all these taxes being a heavy burden on small and medium-sized businesses.
Yep.
And here's a proposal that aims to try to deal with that. And if it is true that 90% of all businesses would see their tax bills shrink, I would be in favor of that. And you're right, John Scholes, who is going to join us at 10:30, and he thinks this is a boneheaded move. He is doing his job, which is to be a proponent for downtown and raise concerns about would big corporations move. Amazon did take some of its business office space that it had previously leased and said, yeah, we're going to move folks to Bellevue.
Right.
But, I mean, they still have a big presence in downtown. You talked about the top 1% doing really well. I mean, we're going to have a couple of instances throughout the show today where we show, yeah, the rich are getting richer. So I don't think this is going to take them out. So I would be in favor of it. But again, I would love to hear what you all think. Text us 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO, and we'll get to hear an opponent of this idea coming up at 10:30. So this is a really disturbing story. Just before Thanksgiving, a Kitsap County woman got a text message that truly shocked her. One of the men who murdered her mother had been released from prison. Ernie Benson was convicted all the way back in 1994 of the killings in 1994 of Connie Case and her partner, Gerald McCord. They were shot at point-blank range while they slept in their Silverdale home, and he was serving life in prison. But a 2021 ruling from Washington Supreme Court changed everything, and it found that automatic life sentences for young adults were unconstitutional. And Benson was just weeks shy of turning 21 when he pulled the trigger, which, under this ruling, made him eligible for resentencing and ultimately led to his release. But the Kitsap County Prosecutor's Office never told the victims' families. They didn't notify them. They didn't invite them to the hearing. And Ginny Brido tells Fox 13 she only found out through a generic text alert from the Department of Corrections that Benson was already out on the streets.
My grandparents had to bury their child every single time. It's like having to start over again. There was no attempt to contact us. Nothing. Ernie walked into court, walked out with a resentencing, and a couple of days later, free on the street. This is a man who killed two people who were related to each other, and they killed my mother.
Now, prosecutor Chad Enright calls it a failure. He blames outdated, decades-old files and missing contact info because the family should have been alerted. And to make matters worse, though, the prosecutor's office had quietly started getting ready to resentence the other guy, Steve McCord. Yeah, the other convicted killer, even though the law doesn't require it because he was over the age of 21. And that was only stopped after Ginny and her family raised the alarm.
It's a good thing they did. It's heart-wrenching right here to see and hear the emotional toll on this family member and this family who obviously have already suffered enough. Now, this is almost like it is re-happening again to them. And now that we're talking about this is a good thing to prevent this in the past, and they need to overturn this thing. I don't care if you was 20 and a half, 19, 18. Matter of fact, if you remember, I got a change of heart on all this stuff.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, yeah.
Because you used to be...
I used to be, yeah.
Yeah, if you were a juvenile... You should not get
16, 15, because what's happening is more and more it is happening because some of these teenagers, they know. And sometimes when these folks, the higher ups tell them to go and commit these violent crimes, they're like, hey, if you do get caught, which you probably won't because, it's hard for them to catch you. If you do get caught, you'll probably be out by the time you're 21 years old. Nah, You want to commit these violent crimes at 15, 16 years old? Charge him as an adult. You get charged. That's an adult crime. You need some adult time. I promise you I did not mean to rhyme that because I don't want to be funny, but I'm being serious.
Yeah, well, here's a bigger concern about this case, though. So if this second guy gets resentenced anyway, and the argument is, hey, the other guy who did the same crime, he's out. Why should this guy, just by virtue of being a few months difference in age, why should he get out and this other one for the same exact crime not get out? So this could end up setting off a wave of similar cases across the state. And again, this was the 2021 ruling from the state Supreme Court that said life in prison for young offenders is unconstitutional. So prosecutors say this could reshape how Washington handles old life sentences for crimes that were committed in early adulthood. So it could truly end up opening the door for more convicted murderers to argue that they deserve a second chance.
Let's go back to 2021, right? Let's go back where it went way too far. You guys remember, during that climate, right? George Floyd happened in 2020. Then we came out of that, and then a lot of restorative justice programs started to blow up across the country, and it started to be this, well, and we started to have sympathy for those that committed violent crimes, and now we're starting to try to sway back to that because we now know it is off the hook right now.
When you see the consequences of some of these things. Yeah, unfortunately. Okay, look around. Speaking of consequences, does the driver ahead of you, if you're in your car, have current car tabs? Nearly 600,000 people in Washington are apparently driving around with expired tabs, which is, according to Carfax, that is about 1 in every 8 vehicles. If this is true, that means that the state is missing out on at least $25 million in registration fees. But this story is from Fox 13. When they asked the Department of Licensing for confirmation, DOL said, well, they don't know. because they would never know, because they don't actually track why people stop renewing their car tabs. It could be, they say, because the car was sold or the car was totaled or it's just sitting in a garage and they haven't. I mean, I was today years old when I found out that that's not tracked. Anyway, they don't follow up. And so some folks are online even bragging about skipping tabs on purpose, not getting caught. Yeah. You can imagine people bring up $30 car tabs. Yeah. Anyway, no word yet from state lawmakers on whether there's going to be change in the future. But for now, it is the honor system out there. So first of all, do you have current car tabs?
I mean, they kind of. Ish.
Wait. You're not one of these.
No. I'm good now. I'm good now. But wait, I sent you a video when I was in Chicago.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yes.
Remember the boots?
Yeah.
The boot?
Yes. Someone got booted.
Back in Chicago,
couldn't move their car.
If you don't pay your tabs,
they go after you.
Well, in their case, it's not tabs. It's actually a sticker. You have to have the sticker. And if you're parked and you're out of date, they put a boot on your car. And so I laugh at this topic because, once again, these are things that have happened since the pandemic within the last 5 years. Well, Billy, Sarah, you don't have to pay your car tabs because we understand.
It's not Billy, Sarah, Gee.
What you mean?
You up until it sounds like recently.
I was protesting because of the $30 tabs. I'll let y'all know. I was protesting. And then I had to be a better example because people kept texting in the show saying every time we talked about tabs, they're like, Gee, you don't have your tabs. So I
mean, the state is missing out right now. We just talked about it yesterday again. Did you hear that the budget gap is even bigger than they originally thought, even after all the taxes that were passed? So, okay, $25 million is not going to cover that gap, but it would be something if 600,000 people are driving around with expired car tabs. If that's you, text us right now, 888-973-5476.
Before we get off this topic, I'm not laughing. I really want to be serious for a second. Okay, I really was protesting for a second.
Okay.
Because I was not excited because it was up for vote. We voted for the $30 car tabs. And our vote didn't matter. So I was mad. So for a minute, I protested, but people kept texting in, using me for an example. I want to be a better example. I wouldn't get my car tabs.
If I go out there and look, you have current car tabs.
Ish.
Gee.
But wait a minute.
What's ish?
It's just, it just depends on when I'm telling the story. But I just want to say this. There are people in the state that are upset about them $30 car tabs that they voted for.
And do you think they have... I get you have the right to be...
I'm not
you
saying...
have the right to be upset, but do you...
But don't discount it. Don't discount the people's vote.
Should State Patrol be pulling people over if they have expired tabs? Yes or no?
As of right
yes
now.
Yes or no?
No. Not at all.
Because you'd be pulled over, is what you're saying.
I mean, I got pulled over the other day by Tacoma Police. By the way, shout out to Tacoma Police Department. Man, I love y'all.
Did you do the I'm G. Scott?
No.
Okay, did they pull you over because of expired tabs?
No.
Apparently, State Patrol says they would pull you over for something else, and then they could pull you over for expired car tabs, but generally they're pulling over for more quote-unquote serious things.
All right, again, you should get your car tab, but is there a part of you that can understand?
You can't preach. You cannot preach if you yourself don't have current car tabs.
What are we talking about? I'm telling everybody that they should. I'm just saying there has to, and Ursula, in your body right now, there should be a part of you that understands why there are people that are upset because of the $30 car tabs they voted on.
You know what hacks me off? That there are folks, and I know Sully is the same way, and he's going to join us here at 9:30. Mm-hmm. He and I have current car tabs. We will always have current car tabs.
You know what? y'all are law-abiding citizens.
As should you.
Let me say, do you know how much car tabs are? That's $150. That is a lot of money.
Oh, my word. I'm disappointed.
So, 206 says, follow the law, G. I'm disappointed.
Follow the law. I am so disappointed.
I do follow the law.
Gee, you had to make it a point to go get your car tabs. Prove to people.
Yeah, you know.
Okay.
Hey.
I wasn't expecting that. I was going to squeeze in another story.
Well, G is back. I got to make these topics good. Shout out to all my brothers and sisters that kind of feel a certain way about the $30 car tabs. Now, Ursula, the folks, the people
we have a platform.
What you mean?
And we need to use it to encourage people to do the right thing. Yes.
And you want to know why
the
people...
The $30 car tab was overturned by the state Supreme Court because of some too many subjects.
But you want to know why people listen to the Gee and Ursula Show? Because we are authentic.
Yeah.
We don't sit here and sugarcoat it.
I'm not even looking at our text line.
Or nothing.
But are people coming in saying, yeah, I don't have them too? Oh, no.
I mean, they coming out there. Nick, are you disappointed in your boy? What am I supposed to do?
I'm a little surprised. Yeah, the ticket is way worse than the tab.
I tell you what. I tell you what.
Hey, y'all, go look for G. Stay control.
I got an idea. How about this? Ursula, during the break.
Yes.
And you'll come back and tell the people. Why don't you go outside and see if my car tabs are current?
Okay, I'm going to do it.
You going to do it for real?
Okay, I'm going to do it.
And then Ursula's going to report back. Make sure you guys stick around.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
Okay, I'm going to even take a picture and post it on our Facebook page.
Don't take a picture of my license plate. You can take a picture of the tabs, but not the license plate.
Okay, sounds good.
Coming up, Sully's going to come in and talk about tolling. Next, Gee and Ursula.
Escalation.
The U.S. attacks Iran.
For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America.
Stay with KIRO Newsradio for the very latest.
Iran launching missile attacks today on U.S. military bases in Qatar and Iraq. Retaliation for the American bombing.
And what it means here at home.
The Bremerton-based USS Nimitz is on its way to the Middle East.
Experience local voices you trust. Stay with KIRO Newsradio on 97.3 FM and mynorthwest.com.
Listen up, folks. If you think finding chrome hearts is tough, let me tell you, Urbanize has cracked the code. That's right. We're one of the rare stores vetted by Chrome Hearts, giving us the exclusive honor to bring you pieces that scream luxury and style. Forget hopping on that plane to Las Vegas. Why bother when you can head over to Urbanize and get the exquisite selection of Chrome Heart frames right there. Founded in 1988 in Los Angeles, this brand has worked with legends like Guns N' Roses and the Rolling Stones. Each frame combines the finest materials, sterling silver, 22-karat gold. So why wait? Elevate your style with Chrome Hearts at Urbanize, where luxury meets accessibility. Swing by in the heart of Kirkland Urban. Go to Urbanize today. Book your appointment with myurbanize.com.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number 4th of July sale. Save over $600 on our King P5 smart bed, our lowest price of the season. Plus, get free home delivery with most smart beds, limited time. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Hartley and Brent Wilcox talking about Wilcox Family Farms.
Dad, I've really enjoyed all the community events we've been doing. One question I get asked a lot is, how long has our family had the farm? When I tell them since 1909, they're surprised. Why do you think that is?
I imagine it's because that's a long time, and many farms have been bought by big corporations that put profits first.
Growing up on the farm, I feel like we put people and the well-being of our hens first.
We do, and as you know, free-range and mobile pasture hens have organic soil to forage and do what they naturally would do. This takes more time and money, but it's the right thing to do. It's better for the hens and makes for great tasting eggs.
I agree. Here is Mike to tell you where you can find locally fresh Wilcox Family Farms eggs.
For fresh, local, pasture-raised, omega-3, hard-boiled, and other fresh eggs, choose Wilcox Family Farms. Look for Wilcox eggs at Safeway, QFC, and PCC Natural Markets. Wilcox Family Farms.
Jason Rance here with our local tax expert and advocate Greg Nunn from None Better Tax Resolution. When it comes to the technology that the IRS is using, they're updating systems that haven't been updated in decades. And while that might sound great for them, it's usually bad for the taxpayer who owes.
It is, and their systems, unfortunately, they're just legacy systems. If you try to make an inquiry on some things, it's like you got to know how to use programming language to find it. But they are working on updating that system, and I hope that really they do, because they'll serve us better, the taxpayer better, and get things done quicker. The other thing they're doing is AI, just like every organization. So they're already using it to some extent to put in profile of certain things that they want to look for in a taxpayer and find those people and go after them or see what's going on, why they're not getting their money.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, call Greg Nunn, None Better Tax Resolution, 425-947-1967, or Google NUNN, None Better Tax Resolution.
It's Olympic Hot Tubs Mid-Year Clearance Spectacular, June 28th and 29th from 9 to 6 at our Auburn warehouse. You'll find incredible savings on one-of-a-kind saltwater and pre-owned tubs, swim spas, and saunas. OlympiCHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Start having fun. Caesar Sportsbook at Muckleshoot Casino Resort is your #1 place to eat, drink, watch, and have fun. Keep up with your favorite sports anywhere and everywhere on property with the mobile app. Visit MuckleshootCasino.com today. Scan the QR code and let the play begin.
Muckleshoot. Guys, tired all the time? Gaining weight? Low drive? These aren't just signs of aging. They could be low testosterone or other underlying issues. This June, for Men's Health Month, Revive Men's Health in Seattle is offering a free comprehensive wellness panel, a $400 value. It checks your testosterone, blood sugar, cholesterol, kidney, liver, thyroid, and heart health. No guessing, just answers. Over 100,000 men have trusted Revive to get real results. More energy, better sleep, improved mood, and confidence that shows. If something feels off, don't wait. Take control and protect your long-term health by knowing your numbers. This offer ends June 30th. Schedule your free comprehensive wellness panel today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Feel better, live stronger. Start now.
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and MyNorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. A U.S. Supreme Court ruling today could have wide-ranging implications for Planned Parenthood. It means states can refuse to allow patients to use their Medicaid coverage at Planned Parenthood for non-abortion services. Legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum says the ruling stems from a case in South Carolina.
The plaintiff argued that she has the right to choose the doctor she gets to see under Medicaid, especially in areas where not every doctor accepts Medicare and Medicaid. The Supreme Court disagreed.
Planned Parenthood provides cancer screenings and other health care services apart from abortion. Union workers at Seattle's federal building are demanding an end to ICE raids and arrests at workplaces. This man picketing yesterday says enforcement is dangerous and disruptive.
ICE is genuinely detaining people in these buildings and holding them overnight, too, and what are supposed to be regular workplaces.
No comment from ICE. The head of ICE's Seattle field office is describing a local immigrant detention center as lovely, despite controversy.
The Northwest Detention Center is the focus of a series of reports by UW's Center for Human Rights, noting an increase in reports of suicide attempts at the facility, as well as concerns about cleanliness and health conditions. Seattle's ICE field director, Kamala Wamsley, has been in her role for 2 months, but says this about the facility's current conditions.
This is a lovely facility. There are inspections that happen, weekly and daily inspections.
The field director announced plans to invite Washington lawmakers to tour the facility later this summer. Gwen Baumgartner, KIRO News Radio.
New numbers show the U.S. economy shrank more than first reported in the first quarter of the year. But CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger says fears over tariffs played a role here.
Companies started to import very aggressively in the first 3 months of the year. Most economists believe that the shrinking of the U.S. economy in the first quarter will reverse itself when the second quarter numbers are released.
Beef prices are up as we approach the 4th of July holiday, and not just for premium cuts. You'll pay about 4% more for that ground beef to make your hamburger. Shoppers tell KIRO 7 TV.
Being on a fixed income, it's very difficult.
I'm still going to buy it no matter what.
Why is that?
Because I like meat.
The Washington State Beef Commission says drought is contributing to a shortage of beef, driving up prices because dry weather means less grass to feed herds. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 350 points, NASDAQ ahead 144. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk in Seattle, a crash is blocking a lane on I-5 northbound near South Alborough Place. You're backed up past the Museum of Flight. In North Bend, a disabled vehicle is blocking a lane on I-90 eastbound at State Route 202. In the South Center area, road crews have wrapped up their work on I-5 southbound at I-405. Travel time overall at or better than usual for this time of day. Traffic brought to you by Harnish Auto Family. For over 40 years, the Harnish Auto Family has built a stellar reputation on trust, respect, and great deals. HarnishAutoFamily.com. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Cloudy skies today with highs in the mid-60s. It's 60 right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio Northwest News.
I'm their conduit, and I'm glad to do it.
Welcome back to the Gee and Ursula Show.
Hey.
I'm a little winded because during the break, Gee and I walked out to the parking lot, which is a little bit of a distance away. We're trying to do it in a rush, and I wanted to see for myself whether Gee is paid up on his car tabs.
Thank you.
And I'm happy to tell all of you, those of you who were basically convinced by his joking around that he hadn't been paid up. Yes, they are current.
Stop right there. Stop. Sophia, you have the video. I want you to post the video on Facebook. I walk Ursula out. We go out there. I point to where my car is. And Ursula looks at it and she says, 0125.
Yeah.
Oh, you're good. So, and Ursula looks at me, and I just looked at her. She looks at me, and she says, I'm good. So then she walks in. She's happy that her co-host is air quotes good because it says 1/2025. And even Ursula, before she leaves the parking lot, she's looking at all the other cars and she's seeing
because I want to know who's part of the 600,000.
Right. So then she says, yeah, Gee, you're good. Ursula loves me so much that she gets on the show. And she lets you guys know that I'm good at January of 2025. Sully, go ahead.
You're 6 months late, dude.
Oh, gee whiz.
You're 6 months late, dude. That expired in January.
Oh, gee, you stink.
You need a calendar, Ursula. That was January.
In my head, I don't even pay attention. I was thinking January 25. Okay, he's got till January 26. I thought he paid January 25. You are
There isn't
terrible.
a month-to-month plan.
Sophia,
Gee.
post that video to the Gee and
Shame
Ursula
on
Facebook.
Shame on you. Clearly, I would not make a cop or a state patrol trooper. Oh, that is so good. That is so good. I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt
Because that's
so
what you do for
much.
everybody. You give everybody the benefit of the
so
doubt.
bad, Gee. Actually, I don't. But, but in this case, I wanted to give it to you. Sophia, is it okay to... You wanted me to look at something here?
Just the Facebook post.
You've already got it on there?
No, not up yet. Yeah. But
Okay, she's making sure that it's okay to put the video. Yeah, we didn't put your actual license plate on there. We weren't going to do that. No. Okay, y'all look for what kind of car do you drive? State Patrol? White?
Look
for G behind the wheel because it's January of 25. Wow,
It's a white Lexus. Donald Trump would love that car.
stop telling people what your car looks like.
Anyway, okay, Sully, we're here though. We're here to talk about.
By the way, you can find G's car most often at the HOV lane. As well with expired tabs.
My girl.
This is just kidding. People are upset. Some people are upset. There are some people who are on your side, including one of my very best friends.
But you know what our show loves?
Yes, keeping it real.
Keep it real.
Yeah, keep it real.
By the way,
And I was wrong. I was so willing to give G
one last thing.
Yeah,
Piper's going to get paid one way or the other. You sell that car, you try to transfer the title, that money's getting paid, or that's not going through.
Oh, there you go. Well,
and for every year.
Ursula, do you want to...
John Urquhart, our former King County Sheriff, is dying. He loves it. Yeah, here I was. I thought I was so ready to tell everyone, and I did. Oh, you're good.
We had a police officer. Police officer with King County.
Yeah. What did he say?
Basically said, "We the people voted for $30 car tabs."
So essentially, what he said is, he will only ticket you or say something if he pulls you over for some other offense.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's still no excuse. I'm truly disappointed.
Are you disappointed?
I'm so disappointed. I am. You should be a better role model. And I'm saying it right to your face. Okay. Sully, though, tell us about the tolling that's coming our way.
We just want to let everybody know that the state's newest toll road opens on Saturday, though the tolls will not go active until October. The new 509 freeway, if those of you who don't know what that is WashDOT's in the process of connecting where 509 ends in Burien all the way around the west end of the airport over to I-5. And you've seen them building the overpass. In fact, they put up a new sign for exit 50 to get you off to Burien there from northbound I-5. And so that opens Saturday. It only goes a mile. They're calling it an expressway, but it only goes a mile because that's all they've built so far. But even though it'll only be open a mile, starting in October, they've set the toll rates for this. This is a toll road, and it will be when it goes all the way to Burien, anywhere from $1.20 to $2.40, depending on the time of day. This is one of those tolls like you have on 520, where the tolls are not congestion pricing. They're flat. Everybody pays it. The money goes back to pay for construction. So I just wanted to let everybody know that's happening. That road opens Saturday. And then connected to this under what we call the Gateway Project, they're extending 509 out of the Port of Tacoma and expanding 167 from where it ends in Puyallup all the way over to I-5 and then to 509 at the Port of Tacoma. And starting next year, that little section of 167 west of I-5 down to the Port of Tacoma will go active, as will the tolls on that. West of I-5, it'll be $1.20 all the time. It's not variable. And then you could pay from $1 to $3, depending on the time of day, once 167 goes the whole way from Puyallup, and that's in 2029. So I'm just kind of setting the stage for you as tolling expands, as the money gets out of your wallet faster.
Sully, why does the state feel like they need to toll?
Well, in this case, for 509 and 167, these are a traditional toll, something that you would have seen years and years ago, where you pay for the construction by tolling the facility, unlike 167 and 405, where you are trying to buy people out of the lanes, right? Congestion pricing. $215 million of the construction of the Gateway Project has to come from tolls. So that's why these roads are being tolled. It helps pay for their construction. So they're all starting. And by the way, they've also added an axle tax to this. So if you're like just a single car trailer with a trailer, you're going to pay an extra fee. More axle, the more you pay. You could pay up to $9 extra if you have, say you're driving a semi, which means that'll get passed on from the trucking company to the company whose product they're delivering, and then to the consumer who's then buying that product. So yeah, just reminding everybody, and there are huge changes overall in the tolling system. I know we're out of time. We could talk about that later over the next year and a half. They're streamlining it. They're making it much more uniform, and big changes are coming, and people are going to notice it.
Just expect to pay more if you're going to be driving,
Pretty
especially
much.
since there are people who don't pay for their car tabs.
Yeah, just imagine if those people paid just, the average toll. Now again, and that also impacts Sound Transit. If you live in the Tri-County area, Sound Transit's not getting their money either, and they're strapped for cash. We just saw another story today. They're considering what they're going to do about ST3, which they don't have the money to buy or to use or to make. So yeah, we got money issues all over the place, and where do they go for it? Our wallets every single time. And so there you go.
Or replace vehicle tabs.
Yeah, I think G.
All right, guys.
Yeah, you're
I'm gonna
doing it.
do it.
You're going to do it
I'm
right now.
I'm going to do it for you all, for all the people.
Good.
Yeah. Somebody texted in and said they're done listening to the show. They're done. Because how dare you?
I'm going to take up for the people who were disappointed, because what is one of your favorite sayings?
How you do anything?
Is how you do everything. Correct. Exactly. So,
and I could get it during pandemic when people lost their jobs, people
Yes.
weren't making money,
Yeah, but
they were looking the other way.
G's
But we're
doing
past
well.
that now.
G's
G seems to be okay. He should be paying those tabs.
Yeah, I
he
think
should
he's-
pay our tabs.
Right
actually,
right now he's not even listening because he's actually taking care of it right now. So I appreciate it.
I'm actually going to get my tabs.
Yes, I appreciate that.
Good. There you go. Sound Transit needs that money for all the work it's doing in Pierce County.
Yes.
That was a joke. Sorry, I give Sound Transit way too. I mean, that's my inner Dory Monson. That kernel of me will never go away in terms of going after Sound Transit.
Sound Transit, unfortunately, makes it very easy.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, Sully, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Well, we'll do it again sometime.
Yes, coming up at 9:47.
Coming up next, as you all know, I was sick and I was out yesterday, and something that I hated to admit, but I did. But something happened to where I started to think about something that truly does impact me, and I wonder if this impacts you. We'll talk about it next. Gee Ursula.
Jake and Spike.
How you doing today?
Oh, fabulous.
You're looking a little, are you a little glum?
No.
Oh, you're fabulous.
Fabulous. I'm faking it till I make it.
Good for
I'm
you.
a transmission fluid half full kind of guy.
Oh, that's nice.
How's that?
You need that today.
I do need that.
'Cause you're having some car troubles. Is that okay that I tell people that?
Yeah, of course it is. You know, we live our lives. We live our lives for the betterment and enjoyment of this city.
The Jake and Spike Show.
Weekdays, noon to 3.
On KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM. This is a test of your emergency alert system.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our clients' portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Business leaders know to solve a problem, you gotta look at it in a new way. Like travel between Seattle and Portland. Why is it such a pain? I-5 traffic, TSA slowdowns, SeaTac hassles. Seaport removes those pain points. We fly out of Boeing Field and a private terminal at PDX. You park for free, steps away from your plane. And with flights every 45 minutes, you're always home for dinner. Problem solved. Seaport Airlines. It's about time. AAA asked me if I would change my name from Sir Mix-a-Lot to Sir Mix-a-Lot. I said, why would I do that? They said, you're more than just a rapper. You're a car collector. You're a businessman. You're an inventor. Just like AAA is more than just towing. They have awesome travel advisors and insurance agents. And they got 3 A's in their name. Maybe I should change my name. Give me 3 A's. Mix, A, mix, A. When I say mix, give me 3 A's. Mix, A.
What's the biggest mistake you can make when selling your home? Settling for less money. That never happens with Orchard. Disappointing offers can wear you down, causing you to settle for thousands less. You don't have to settle when you sell with Orchard. Orchard reinvented the real estate industry by guaranteeing your home sale and helping you sell on the market for top dollar. First, Orchard gives you cash up front so you can buy and move into your new home first, on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then once you're all settled in, your Orchard agent helps sell your home on market for top dollar. Here's what one Orchard customer said.
I never could have sold without Orchard. I made way more than I expected, and it couldn't have been easier. With Orchard, you never have to settle for less. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Curious how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com. Orchard.com.
Someone says they're from Medicare? Hang up. Medicare never cold calls. Offered free medical equipment or services? Toss it. It's likely a scam. Got your Medicare statement? Read it. Spot something strange? Report it. You can fight it. The Washington State Office of the Insurance Commissioner Fraud Prevention Service is free, unbiased, and here for you. Search Washington Medicare Fraud or call 800-562-6900. That's 800-562-6900.
Subaru of Puyallup is known for making your car buying experience stress-free no matter what. Olivia here from Subaru of Puyallup. We've provided stress-free sales and service through storms, supply hiccups, even a pandemic. You can count on a stress-free experience no matter what's around the corner. Right now, we have over 300 brand new Subaru vehicles on the lot with stress-free pricing plus excellent stress-free trade-in values. Come in and secure today's pricing on tomorrow's car at Subaru of Puyallup.
At Clear Choice Dental Implant Centers, we get that your teeth, your budget, and your story are all unique to you, which is why our experts who specialize in dental implants will build a custom solution around each patient's needs. With personalized treatment plans and third-party financing options, we'll help you get your new teeth on your terms. Visit clearchoice.com or call 888-SMILE-05 to schedule your free consultation today and let us help Seattle start smiling again.
Office is owned by Dr. Alfonso Pinheiro. Puyallup Tribe's Firecracker Alley is now open. 3509 72nd Street East in Tacoma. Stock up now for the 4th at Puyallup Tribe's Firecracker Alley. Open now through July 4th. With over 100 fireworks stands and a variety of food and beverage options, you're sure to get your 4th of July off to a great start at Firecracker Alley. Don't miss the free fireworks show on July 1st. Learn more at puyalluptribe-nsn.gov. That's puyalluptribe-nsn.gov.
It is the Gee and Ursula Show. Okay, now, the break before, Ursula went out to try to find out if my tabs were good to go. And she thought they were good. She came on, she said that, but come to find out, they actually weren't. So, what I did during the break is, Ursula, you confirmation, did you see that I renewed my tabs?
And I saw it for myself, and G paid how much was it?
$123.
See how, as Beth in Tacoma said, easy peasy that was to do the right thing?
So basically, technically, there are now 599,999 people going around the state of Washington with expired tabs.
Right. Yeah, you're one down. So Ursula, but I'm hoping that those of you listening right now, because I get it, when times were tough during the pandemic, okay, sure, $30 car tabs, yeah, it's not going to be something that maybe, but there are folks who are right now saying they got pulled over because of expired car tabs. So it depends on what jurisdiction you're dealing with. Not everybody's going to be like that law enforcement officer who said, I'm not going to pull you over unless you do something else and more serious. Don't assume that. And just remember, we all have to contribute. How you do anything is how you do everything. And we all have to contribute to improving our roads.
I just find it hilarious. Somebody said, I'm no longer listening to G anymore.
Well, I hope he comes back. Okay. But anyway, let's talk about...
You'll be fine. Okay. Switching gears. Ursula tells me all the time to take breaks.
Yes.
Ursula tells me all the time to not work so much. Sometimes she sends text messages about me working so much to where some of them I don't even respond to. But
I know. I know.
Nevertheless, she does look out for my well-being. Well, as you all know, I tried to push through the other day, and it didn't work. Yes, it was my allergies, but more importantly, it was just my body, I think, telling me I had to slow down. That hadn't happened since the end of 2022. I remember when that happened. So yesterday, when I was down, I got to tell you that there were people that were reaching out to me, are you okay? My own wife, while she's at work, she's texting me while I'm at home, are you okay? The feeling of being sick, like not the actual feeling being sick, just the thought of not being able to go to work, the thought of not having that Superman mentality, which is something I have realized that is my identity, is someone I like to say and feel as if I am the hardest worker. When that happened to me yesterday, Ursula, it was double whammy. Yes, I didn't feel well. And yes, I was feeling awful about being down. It felt like I was needy. It felt like I was weak. And it felt like it kind of brought me back to the time when I was financially struggling. It was a feeling of that. Just the feeling alone put me into a little bit of depression. So my point to what I'm saying is if you are like me or any of you who have sometimes made work your identity, I have to reimagine my life a little bit better. I have to stop with making work my identity.
Well, for people who don't know, this is one of your jobs. You're also an auctioneer or MC.
Mm-hmm.
You do a lot of speaking engagements. How many days in a month do you say you actually have off? Like you're not doing anything?
Well,
not counting days that you call in sick.
Not counting football season.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, you also have football.
Yep. Not counting football season. So in the summertime, this summer, days off, I will have 4 coming up from now until the end of July.
And that is what I keep telling you is so unhealthy. And your body is breaking down.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you, like so many people have, it's not just wrapping yourself up in your identity for doing all these things, but also that fear of going back to where you once were and always feeling like, I've got to make up for that lost time. I've got to make up for that lost time. But what good, I guess my point to all of you is, what good is that going to be if your body is completely broken down, you are sick, and then you're forced to stop working? I mean, it's not healthy, and it's not necessary. And, I obviously would much rather have you here.
Right.
But
I'd say that you saying that when I'm 100% healthy,
yes,
it makes no sense.
Yes.
But you saying that on the heels of what I went through the last couple of days, and by the way, I mean, I know that there are people that are like, oh man, you're whining. What? Yeah, I was whining for sure, but I haven't felt like that for a long time.
And can I tell you the reason I can say this with confidence at this point in time?
Yeah.
Is because I was you, where I felt like I had to prove something when I was news director here. And I would be working 14-hour days, not getting sleep, just going, while trying to raise 2 young children. And my body finally gave out when I had to get taken out of this building in a stretcher.
Yeah. Yes,
Don't wait till that happens.
Well, I'm back. And not only am I back, because of all of you, I have fresh tabs. All right. We got a lot to talk about. You guys thought the top stories at the top of 9 was something. Wait until you hear what's next. What is happening to some of the states in this country that are allowed to cut Medicaid funding? We'll explain that next. Gee and Ursula.
At the Harnish Auto family, people matter isn't just a saying. It's how they do business. For over 40 years, their dealerships, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Volkswagen, Subaru of Puyallup, plus Chevrolet and Kia of Everett, have built a stellar reputation on trust, respect, and great deals. From supporting local charities to making sure every customer drives away happy, they're here for you. Stop by any of their dealerships or visit HarnishAutoFamily.com and find your next car today. Harnish Auto Family. People matter.
KIRO FM and HD1 Tacoma, Seattle.
Hartley Wilcox here from Wilcox Family Farms. It's been fun meeting people at our recent egg demo events. I'm often asked, what do the hens eat? Well, Wilcox hens eat natural grains, seeds, and grass. They forage for worms and bugs, and their diet is free from pesticides and fertilizers. For fresh local eggs, look for Wilcox Eggs at Safeway, Town & Country Markets, or Amazon Fresh. Wilcox Family Farms, locally fresh since 1909.
Hey guys, it's Keith Dashafee from Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington, and we are not done celebrating 100 years of industry leadership. For a limited time, get $100 off every window, $100 off every door, or choose 60 months of 0% financing with no interest and equal payments. That's right, 100 years strong, and we're giving you more ways to save on the Pella difference. Schedule your free consultation today at PellaPNW.com. Thank you again for letting us serve you in the Northwest.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Hey there, Dawn Riling with Olympic Hot Tub. Today is the last day to save big during our mid-year clearance spectacular. All 8 of our Puget Sound showrooms are open until 6 p.m. This is your last chance for incredible savings on one-of-a-kind saltwater hot spring spas, plus deep discounts on pre-owned tubs, swim spas, and saunas. Do not miss this. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub. Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Get 0% financing for 72 months on Cat Compact construction equipment at NC Machinery. Built for performance, durability, and comfort. Buy now and take advantage of 0% financing for 72 months at NC Machinery.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Steve Kathan. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth backs President Trump, who has said U.S. attacks in Iran obliterated nuclear sites.
President Trump directed the most complex and secretive military operation in history, and it was a resounding success, resulting in a ceasefire agreement and the end of the 12-day war.
And he blasted reporters over the headlines about a preliminary intel report that suggested Iran's nuclear program was set back by just a few months.
There are so many aspects of what our brave men and women did that, because of the hatred of this press corps, are undermined because people are trying to leak and spin that it wasn't successful. It's irresponsible.
Iran's supreme leader said the U.S. attacks did nothing significant. A Supreme Court ruling allows states to block the country's biggest abortion provider, Planned Parenthood, from receiving Medicaid money. CBS's Jan Crawford.
I think you'll see efforts in conservative states, and there have already been many underway, to say that if you want to have Medicaid pay for some of your health care services, then the state's going to have more leeway in deciding who's going to be a qualified provider.
The new Vaccine Advisory Committee has backed fall flu vaccination, but only shots free of an ingredient anti-vaccine groups have falsely tied to autism. The Senate parliamentarian says Medicaid provisions in the president's budget bill run afoul of rules and may have to be changed or eliminated. CBS's Nicole Killian.
GOP leaders continue to insist that they think they can meet the president's timetable, but there's a lot to resolve between now and the July 4th holiday.
New census numbers show immigration is driving population growth.
The U.S. population would be declining if not for historic immigration growth among Hispanics and Asians. Children still outnumber older adults, but that gap is shrinking as baby boomers age and the birth rate drops. Bill Fry is a demographer at the think tank The Brookings Institution.
So we're becoming older, and that's why it's so important that we have these younger people coming in from other parts of the world.
Hispanics now account for 20% of the total population and 27% of children. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The government says the economy shrank at a 0.5% annual pace from January through March. First estimate was 0.2%. CBS's Jill Schlesinger.
We saw softness in consumer spending, but most importantly, this number is impacted by the fact that companies started to import very aggressively in the first 3 months of the year.
That was to get ahead of Trump tariffs. Wall Street, the Dow is up 300 points. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive. Protect your auto, home, and business with Progressive and get 24/7 coverage. See if you can save at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
Could proposed changes in Seattle's B&O tax push businesses out of town? That concern coming up, but first from the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk. In Seattle, a crash is blocking a lane on I-5 northbound near South Alborough Place. You're backed up to Boeing Field. Driving into Seattle is slow right now. You're jamming up starting at Northgate. Travel time Everett to Seattle is 46 minutes, about 10 longer than typical. In North Bend, a disabled vehicle's blocking a lane on I-90 eastbound at State Route 202. Just a little bit of slowing right there. Traffic brought to you by Global Credit Union, where members enjoy no fee accounts and early payday with direct deposit. Learn more at globalcu.org.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Seattle police are investigating 2 separate attacks near homeless camps.
Tuesday night, a man slashed a victim with a machete near a homeless camp in Lake City. No arrests in that case. King County Prosecutor's Office spokesperson Casey McNerthney tells me last week a homeless man already armed with a machete and a Queen Anne Greenbelt attacked a Seattle police officer with a homemade spear.
Really concerning when you see that kind of violence. We'll give you resources, but you can't stay here.
Officers were clearing that homeless camp in Queen Anne. The suspect is charged with assault. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
A driver opens fire on I-5 and a camera that takes pictures of license plates helps the State Patrol track him down. Troopers say it happened Wednesday afternoon near Kent. Thankfully, no one injured. Deputies did find the car, arrested a suspect, and removed several handguns. The Coast Guard is working to clean up and contain any debris from a boat fire on Seattle's Lake Union that sent huge plumes of dark smoke into the air. Witnesses tell us.
It was very quick. It went from just smoke showing to multiple boats involved and all wooden boats and a wooden marina. So it was, pretty fast.
The roof of the marina caught fire too. Fire crews called in a second alarm and worked from both land and water to fight this. The boat sank, but no one was injured. There is no cause for that fire yet. Seattle's mayor is proposing a plan to have large corporations pay a higher B&O tax so that smaller businesses can pay less. Councilmember Alexis Mercedes Rink supports it.
We're asking the largest corporations to pay their fair share, and we're asking them to contribute to the community that made their success possible.
But Downtown Seattle Association President John Scholes says it will drive business out of town.
A healthy city requires a healthy downtown. Companies have choices, and we've seen Amazon, move a lot of jobs outside of Seattle and grow elsewhere. We hope that that's not the choice that many other companies are faced with.
The tax proposal would require both city council and voter approval. State lawmakers pulled funding from Dolly Parton's Imagination Library to help balance the budget, but now the state school superintendent says his office will use discretionary funding to keep the program alive for one more year as they search for permanent funding. The program provides Washington kids ages 5 and under with a free book every month.
When they get old enough to wait for that in the mailbox, they're going to get that book and they're going to make somebody sit down with them and read it.
That was Dolly celebrating the Imagination Library in Tacoma in 2023. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Cloudy skies today with highs in the mid-60s. It's 62 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio App. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
What's up, everybody? It is the Gee and Ursula Show. Happy Thursday, June 26th. Your boy is back I was a little down under the weather, but I'm back now, Ursula. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, we're glad to have you back. We're also glad to have you current on your formerly expired tabs. That all happened this morning. But you know what that conversation did? A lot of folks who have also admitted now that they have expired tabs, they're at least contemplating getting current.
I hope that there is someone from the DMV, right? Department of Licensing, all of them.
Yeah.
Could maybe, I know they don't track it, but to maybe say there has been an uptick in people renewing their tabs.
Yeah, they would have no clue because apparently they don't track it, which I think is crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah, if that is true, the information from Carfax is true, and $26 million is basically not in the city, in the state's coffers, I think they need to at least look at that.
Okay,
for sure. And I know for those of you who haven't paid, a couple people texted in or emailed us and said, yeah, I haven't paid in 3 years or 5 years. Yeah, sorry, the party should be over, including for G. Okay, hey, coming up, you heard in Heather's newscast, there's this new proposal that could mean tax cuts for small businesses and some increases for the big businesses in Seattle. Now, Downtown Association CEO John Scholes calls this a boneheaded proposal of epic proportions. Well, he's going to join us at 10:30 to tell us how he really feels about it, and we'll try to challenge him on it.
I like John Scholes.
Yeah, so he'll join us at 10:30.
I don't agree with you.
Okay, so we'll talk about that coming up, but right now...
What's new at 10?
And it is the breaking news. The Supreme Court has just handed down a ruling that is going to block Planned Parenthood from getting Medicaid money. In a 6-3 decision, the conservative majority said patients cannot sue if a state blocks them from using Medicaid to go to Planned Parenthood, even though the law technically lets people choose their own provider. This essentially shuts down the main legal path that patients have been using to fight back. South Carolina's governor, Henry McMaster, led this charge, and now other states may follow. And our U.S. Senator, Patty Murray, says this is going to put at least 200 clinics at risk of closing.
These are clinics that don't just provide life-saving abortion care, but they provide cancer screenings, birth control, and other essential healthcare services for over 1 million patients.
Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, in a blistering dissent, warned that this ruling is going to strip vulnerable patients of the right to decide who treats them, calling it a tangible harm to real people.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous sometimes, Ursula, when decisions are made and for political reasons, the real harm and impact that it can have on some of our most vulnerable people in populations, not just here locally, but all over the country. And sometimes, Ursula, I feel as if it reminds me of a gang mentality, right? Like, oh, okay, well, as long as it happens to them, as long as we good. And when I say we need to collectively look at more than just which side of the political coin that you're on. We is all of us. When I say, I'm just letting you all know, when I say we, that includes Trump supporters, that includes MAGA, that includes Democrats, Republicans, that includes all of us. Because humanity, right, with a bird's eye view, if you look on top of the earth, they don't break it down into how you feel or a certain type of way, what culture you're from, what is your skin color, your ethnicity, none of that matters. So we start looking like this, Ursula, you start talking about cancer screenings, and you start talking about real impacts that this would have on people who are struggling financially and need places like Planned Parenthood. Heart breaks on that one, Ursula.
Yeah, it does. And a 425 texted in and said, when talking about the most vulnerable in society, are you talking about the babies? Now, I want to throw that out there because that is one of the things that the South Carolina governor said. This is emphasizing life. And I understand that if you are strictly pro-life against abortion, that you think of this as a big victory. But you got to remember that that is not all that Planned Parenthood does. And I think that's what you're speaking to.
And by the way, if you all have been listening to this show in the 5.5 years, you know that just so you know, when the topic of pro-choice and that comes up, notice how I get silent on that topic. I am silent on that topic because I feel that my voice on that specific topic is something that I don't know anything about. So a lot of times I defer to usually Ursula, you having this, and we don't even talk about this topic that much because we know how serious of a topic that is.
Well, and it's always, I do talk about it because I believe in a woman's right to choose. I also believe that there are many, many different situations that where it is life-saving, and I think that we've gotten to the point where this has been since day one, and we've gone backwards in that Roe v. Wade was overturned. Yeah. And now, when you keep talking about these Supreme Court rulings, I'm not surprised anymore because of the makeup of the Supreme Court. You knew that this was gonna happen. Mm-hmm. It has a conservative majority, and it was voted on. The decision, the ruling was exactly along the political alignment in the Supreme Court. So elections have consequences, and that was the consequence of the elections. And but just again, I think it's short-sighted to look at it and basically not realize that Planned Parenthood also provides other services.
Before we move on, this is important text. Chantel, who listens to our show from University Place, says, when I didn't have insurance after my divorce, I used Planned Parenthood for my exams. They identified my developing cervical cancer and were so great to work with. So that is a comment. And so, again, let's move on.
Okay, well, let's talk about this because I know this is something that you've been I want to bring up because we often talk about how the rich keep getting richer. Well, there is a new study out today that does confirm that.
The British-based development charity Oxfam says the world's 3,000 billionaires are $6.5 trillion richer today than they were 10 years ago. That's equivalent to almost 15% of global output. In all, the richest 1% of the global population, mere millionaires, in addition to those billionaires, are some $34 trillion richer, which Oxfam says would be enough to end annual global poverty 22 times over. This, Oxfam says, as wealthy governments are making the biggest cuts to life-saving development aid since records began in 1960. Vicki Barker, CBS News, London.
So the rich are not only getting richer, but also the poor keep getting poorer, and this wealth gap keeps widening. And you know who else is making a lot of money right now?
Who?
Is people who have a lot of stock.
Right. My financial advisor, he told me, you remember Ursula on our show for the last couple years, we have been talking about the looming possibility of a recession.
Yes.
Have we not?
Yes.
We
last couple of years. Yes.
We have. While doing that, my financial advisor says, hey, there is going to come a certain point where there will be a drop in the stock market. What I want you to do is I want you to put aside cash, put aside money, so when it does happen, you are able to buy in. So 3 months ago, when Trump first got into office, if you all remember, we go back and then the tariff conversation started to happen, all the uncertainty. In February, right, the stock market started to go down. Mm-hmm. That was the time that I took advantage of that time, listening to what my financial advisor said. By the way,
you're not giving advice. You're not giving advice to anybody.
I'm not giving advice to anybody. Yes. I'm just telling you all what I did.
Yes.
I'm a small timer compared to the top 1%. Since I've done that and seeing what is happening right now, I am seriously starting to question why you and I do this show every day. What we talk about every day. No, I'm being serious. Because while we are talking about all these things, I'll give you an example. So on Saturday, this weekend, there was the B-52s and the bombs over Iran and the nuclear sites, 3 nuclear sites. And on all day on Saturday, I was glued to the TV. Probably you all were too. On Sunday, that's all we talked about. Are we in World War III? And then we show up on Monday. On Monday, the conversation is, it's handled. Things are great. There's a potential ceasefire that's going to be going on. And so all of these conversations are happening. It feels and seems like World War III is averted. I go to look at the stock market, and if those listening right now, you've seen it too, it has been a record week.
Yeah, what is it at right now? I mean, the Dow. Okay, well, I'll look at it. But in any case, you're just saying it has been huge.
Huge. So it makes me feel like that all of what we are going through, everything that we're talking about, and we're talking about the big, beautiful bill that we all know that is designed to be a huge tax cut for the rich. Everything that we talk about, that we're dealing with, the only thing that is happening right now is people at the top are getting richer like crazy. And people that are struggling financially, paycheck to paycheck, the same people who voted for him because of eggs, because of groceries, because of gas, are not getting that leg up because this is all about the top 1%. And I'm saying this as I am saying, I'm looking at it myself like, whoa.
Well, funny that you also mentioned that because have you filled your gas tank lately? Yowzers. And a lot of that, I will say, in the state of Washington is our tax too. Sure. But gas prices basically around the country, I mean, they are going up. The Dow right now, though, I mean, again, this is great if you have stocks in the market. Dow is at 43,325, up 342 points today. S&P 500 is at 6,134. NASDAQ at 20,129. Everything, all arrows pointing up.
I'm 30% in the last 3 months.
Wow.
30% in the last 3 months. What are we talking about? But again, the topics that we discuss.
Good for you, but for a lot of people who maybe thought things are going to be different, they're
right like this
in more dire straits.
And so, but that's the thing, though, Ursula. You would think that people that continue to benefit from this will continue to celebrate what is happening. There is no celebration because what is happening right now is the most uncertainty ever. There's constant every single day.
Well, I'd love to hear from all of you listening right now. Are you feeling more uncertainty today, regardless of who you voted for? Text line 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. You know, I don't pay attention. I have a 401k. We're lucky to have investments. I don't look on it. I'm in for the long haul. So I just figure people who are much smarter than I am when it comes to those kinds of things and handling the 401k are handling it. And so far, so good.
I'm going to echo Jeff, thank you from Linwood. Before you move on, I'm just going to say this. And Jeff, thank you, because this has been said by my advisor as well. All of the uncertainty, everything that's going on in the world, out of all the things going on, the fact that the stock market is continuing to climb makes no sense. It makes no
because
sense.
It's usually the opposite. Uncertainty usually spells doom for the market.
No sense. We have you heard Heather Bosch get on at the top of the hour and talk about meat prices going up, small businesses that are truly being impacted. The stock market climbing makes no sense.
Okay, well, let's talk about scams because we talked about it yesterday. You weren't here, Gee, but yesterday we were talking about folks posing as the DMV. Well, I just got an update, and apparently they think that the scammers are listening to our show because they've changed it now, not DMV. They're now saying Department of Licensing because that was one of the signs. Like, no, we don't call it DMV. We call it DOL. But anyway.
No. Wait. But they were, real quick.
Yes.
Even in the beginning, they were calling it WashDOT and DOL.
Oh.
Even in the beginning.
Okay,
yes.
so they had others. Okay, because I got the DMV one. Okay, so now there's a new twist, though, and this one is going after younger people, not retirees, not seniors. We're talking about young people in their 20s and 30s. Bellevue police say this is one of the most sophisticated scams that they have seen. It's already cost victims hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the scammers in this case are preying on specific things. Age, again, younger, perceived wealth, and even race. In these cases, most of the victims were young, financially successful, and Asian. So what happens is you get a call from someone pretending to be a government official or law enforcement or immigration, and they say you are connected to something serious like fraud or even an international crime, and then they use that fear and that urgency to convince you that the only way to prove your innocence is to provide fingerprint scans, social security numbers, tax forms, passport information, and then wire large sums of money. And unfortunately, some folks, one 25-year-old lost over $300,000. Another woman wired $800,000. A 33-year-old sent $450,000.
I don't have all the answers, but I'll give you two. Number one, Ursula, if there's something that happens to you, there's a scam or there's a scam attempt, please say something because that's going to help someone else out. Number two, I would argue that 98% of people that are wanting money from you is going to come through the mail usually, and it's going to be either whether it's certified or not, it's going to have a seal. It's not going to come through your cell phone. Hey, Ursula, you owe us some money. Please hit this link and follow the instructions. That is usually not someone that's going to get money from you. And Ursula, I think the scammers realized that this is G. Scott. This is the same G. Scott that back in the day that never paid them anyways when they would call me. You know what I mean? When them,
the one who just
Ursula,
paid his car
the one that
tabs
just
today.
paid his car tabs today, when them credit folks will call to Ursula, see, you the type that if the credit folks call, you're going to, we'll get that paid right away. G, I'll put something on it. I'll put something on
I'm
it.
going to pay right away, but first of all, they won't be calling, A, and B, I would never send money. I would never wire money. But there are a lot of people, unfortunately, who are.
That's why
the
we talking about
scammers
it.
just keep getting better and better. So,
yeah.
Warning.
Yeah. Sophia, what kind of scams is coming at young Gen Z these days?
You know, I get a lot of we're hiring, we're recruiting type of messages.
Oh, hey, I'm getting those too, though.
They're like,
Text
we have
messages,
the perfect job for you. You can make money tomorrow. And I'm like, no, I don't think so.
You got some scams coming at you, bro?
There's been some attempts in my emails, like from these fake T-Mobile accounts or fake cell phone accounts, being like, you have an outstanding bill of like $400 that you haven't paid on your cell phone account. And it's like,
well, hey, look here. Can I be honest with y'all?
Yeah.
Back early in the very beginning, when social media was first starting and emails and stuff was happening, and I was broke, and I would get that email from the Nigerian prince.
Yeah.
Boy, those was tempting them days.
Oh, you were hoping you could be a Nigerian prince.
Yeah. I'll send you $10 million. All you got to do is send me your information and you're wiring. Yeah, because if I give them my account, wasn't nothing in it anyways.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you just won a free iPhone.
Hey, coming up next, the head of the Downtown Seattle Association, John Scholes, is going to join us. And the conversation is centered around, should big business in Seattle be taxed at a higher rate? We'll talk about it next. Gee Ursula.
This hour is brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington.
KIRO Newsradio is right there with you.
A big story developing this morning.
On your smart speaker before you head out the door.
Get the latest live from KIRO Newsradio's Luke Ducey.
Huge impacts for Boeing and Boeing workers.
The office, the gym, anywhere.
Water, like taxes, goes all the way down to the bottom, so it'll either come out of the employee's paycheck or the lack of raise.
KIRO Newsradio. We're on YouTube, our app, your smart speaker, and 97.3 FM.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
If you need to hire, you know it takes time. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. You simply pick a time and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day.
Try Zip Intro for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hartley and Brent Wilcox on mobile pasture eggs from Wilcox Family Farms.
Hartley, you worked with our mobile pasture barns. Tell us what mobile pasture means.
Well, mobile pasture is using a big tractor to pull the barns to new pasture each week, so the hens have fresh, green, nutritious grass to eat every day.
Why is that important?
Well, hens can get about 35% of their diet from the grass and bugs in the pasture. So before they pick one area clean, we just hook the tractor up and move it to fresh green grass.
And the fresh grass makes for the most amazing colored yolks.
At Wilcox Farms, we have over 500 acres of organic pasture land that ensures we never run out of fresh Northwest grass for our hens.
Always check the carton to make sure it's local.
When you see Wilcox, you know it's local, you know it's fresh.
Wilcox is the only local mobile pasture in the Northwest.
You really have to see videos of how it works.
And you can at wilcoxfarms.com.
Remember, the grass is always greener at Wilcox Farms.
If you're wearing glasses or contacts, but you need reading glasses or bifocals now, you need to join Drs. Kopstein and King for the K2 Vision RLE live webinar today at noon to learn about refractive lens exchange from K2 Vision RLE. This free webinar is a perfect opportunity to meet the doctors and have them answer all your questions about K2 Vision RLE. Questions like, what is K2 Vision RLE? How long is the procedure and recovery time? Why can't you develop a cataract after having RLE? These questions and more will be covered today at noon during the K2 Vision RLE free live webinar. K2 Vision surgeons have performed over 150,000 procedures. They know when RLE is right for you. K2 Vision RLE. No glasses, no contacts, no readers. Plus, no more cataracts. Don't miss this free live webinar today at noon. Register at K2VisionRLE.com. That's K2VisionRLE.com.
Kick off your 4th of July weekend with the Mariners Fireworks Show at Seattle's summer home, T-Mobile Park. It's a Mariners patriotic party. Thursday, July 3rd, presented by T-Mobile. Fly ball right field. Sailing back. Legend Cal Raleigh. Catch Cal and the crew take on the Royals at 7:10. Then stick around as the sky explodes with red, white, and boom. Fireworks and Mariners baseball. That's 2 spectacular shows in one unforgettable night.
J.P. Crawford with a walk-off single. Holy smokes, what a finish.
Lock in your seats now at mariners.com/fireworks and check out the full fireworks lineup this summer, including an 80s night on July 18th and Show Tunes theme on August 1st. Plus, don't miss big-time giveaways like patriotic trucker hats on July 4th and J.P. Crawford basketball jerseys on July 5th. Mariners baseball. Tridents up.
This Thursday through Sunday, 4-time Grammy winner Eliane Elias brings her Brazilian brilliance to Dimitro's Jazz Alley. Don't miss 6 shows of stunning piano, sultry vocals, and unforgettable rhythm. Tickets at jazzalley.com.
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. The Pentagon is releasing more details this morning about the weekend military strike in Iran. Dan Kane is chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
All 6 weapons at each vent at Fordow went exactly where they were intended to go.
But an independent full damage assessment of the bombings has not been conducted. CBS's Charlie D'Agata.
We saw a couple of new images, satellite images of the ventilation staffs at Fordow, and that was it. We got an illustration of what that B-2 and what those bombs can do by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, but nothing from the site itself.
A divided U.S. Supreme Court today ruled that states can block Planned Parenthood from receiving Medicaid money for health services like contraception and cancer screenings. Washington Democratic U.S. Senator Patty Murray says this puts 200 clinics across the country at risk of closing.
These are clinics that don't just provide life-saving abortion care, but they provide cancer screenings, birth control, and other essential healthcare services for over 1 million patients.
The High Court ruled on a case out of South Carolina where the Republican governor says no taxpayer money should go to the organization. New numbers show the U.S. economy shrank by 0.5% in the first quarter of the year compared to the previous quarter. That's more than initially thought. The beef you're going to toss on the grill this 4th of July is going to cost you more than it did last year. KIRO 7 TV's Madeline Audley reports.
Beef keeps Double D Meats busy.
We cut tons of steaks and beef.
But the Mount Lake Terrace butcher is not immune to rising costs.
Never seen prices this high in my life.
Ribeye and flake steak up about $1.50 from last year. Bottom sirloin flap up more than $3. The U.S. is facing its lowest beef cattle supply in decades. One of the reasons is drought.
When there's a lack of rain, there's a lack of grass. How many cattle and how much beef can they raise off the grass that's growing?
Jackie Medill with the Washington State Beef Commission says experts believe herds could rebuild over the next few years.
As for your 4th of July hamburger this year, ground beef is up about 4% compared to last year. A Seattle basketball legend is getting a permanent tribute. Saturday, Lenny Wilkens will be honored with a statue outside Climate Pledge Arena. Wilkens played, coached, and even managed the Sonics, and he led Seattle to its only NBA title back in 1979. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 360 points, NASDAQ ahead 168. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, in Seattle, a crash is blocking 2 left northbound lanes of 1st Avenue South at South Spokane Street. In Seattle, a crash is blocking a lane on I-5 northbound near South Alborough Place. You're backed up to Boeing Field. Travel time, though, Seattle to Federal Way to Seattle is about on target, but you're still very sluggish getting into the city from the north. Travel time Everett to Seattle, 37 minutes. That's about 7 longer than typical. Traffic brought to you by Home Comfort Alliance. Save up to 25% on 2024 heat pumps and ACs during the Home Comfort Alliance warehouse clearance. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Cloudy skies today with highs in the mid-60s. It's 62 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. The city of Seattle is floating this new tax plan that would wipe out business taxes for most small and mid-sized companies and would lower the bill for thousands more. But there is a catch. The biggest businesses in Seattle would have to foot the bill for this plan. The CEO of the Downtown Seattle Association calls this a boneheaded proposal. And John Scholes joins us now live on the Gee and Ursula Show. Good morning, John. Why do you hate this one so much?
Well, good morning to both of you. Well, first, let me just start by saying we've made a ton of progress in revitalizing downtown with the leadership of Mayor Harrell, the city council, our city attorney. We're in a much better place than we were 3 years ago. But this idea is completely boneheaded because it's going to set us back. It's a self-inflicted wound, and it's a big headwind to further revitalization of downtown. So I struggle to understand how you can be for the revitalization of downtown and for a big tax on companies downtown and those that we're trying to attract. We still face one of the highest office vacancy rates, one of the highest retail vacancy rates in downtown Seattle that we've had in more than 2 decades. This isn't going to help us fill empty storefronts or empty office buildings, which will further erode our tax base. So I've likened this to the police movement. This should be called the defund your tax base movement, and it should be rejected by the city council.
John Scholes, first of all, I agree with you. Ursula agrees with you. We do love everything that has happened downtown Seattle. Everything has been great from the city council to the mayor. We agree. Now, what is your definition right now of a fair tax system? Because if we are a state with no income tax, and then we are a state that is saying, especially a city, that is saying, hey, slow down on the tax of the top 1%, the big businesses, then who should that tax deal fall under? What would be fair then?
Well, I don't think raising a B&O tax, which is a tax on gross receipts, it's not a tax on profit on 1,900 businesses who, many of whom have incredibly low margins today because they're dealing with a bunch of other taxes and inflation and expense increases over these last 3-4 years. is any way fair. And we really have no idea who these 1,900 businesses are. This is a small number of businesses in our city, and there's this presumption that they can all pay and afford it. But this is a rushed tax proposal. It's bad fiscal policy, and it's going to make our city more unaffordable. And as the commercial tax base erodes because we can't fill vacancies, whether they're in office buildings or at the ground level, that tax burden will shift to residents in our city. So I don't know that that's all that fair either. So I think there's a conversation to be had around our tax structure. This is not the way to do it. This is a rush job. It's a bad idea. It's a boneheaded idea. It's going to make Seattle more unaffordable. It's going to erode our commercial tax base, and it's going to shift the tax burden to residents in our city.
According to the mayor, this proposal would mean a tax reduction for 90% of all businesses in the city of Seattle. And according to, again, this proposal, about 16,500 of Seattle's businesses wouldn't owe a dime under this tax. I mean, that sounds pretty good, if any of that is true.
That is good. They should adopt that. And we suggested a version of that several years ago, but they should do that without increasing taxes on a small number of employers in our city that matter to those small businesses, because those big employers create a ton of customers for those small businesses. But they shouldn't couple these together. It's like a plate of dog food with a dollop of whipped cream on it. It doesn't make the dog food taste any better. It's a bad idea to couple these together. They should give tax breaks to small businesses and to businesses that are setting up shop in our city. We suggested that idea 3 years ago. But raising taxes on businesses in our city right now, with all the economic uncertainty coming out of D.C., is just the wrong move. And it's a head scratcher to see our local leaders, their response to Trump creating a ton of uncertainty for Seattle companies is to raise taxes on Seattle companies. That's a bad response.
John Scholes is the Downtown Seattle Association's CEO. You mentioned there have been some signs of recovery, but you also mentioned that there's still many offices that are vacant. What is the vacancy rate today?
Nearly 30%. It's the highest it's been in more than 20 years. And we're in a fragile spot still. Again, we're making a lot of progress. We've got more people living, working, and visiting downtown than we had a year ago, and more than we had 2 years ago. And there's lots of great things to celebrate. A new waterfront and Club Cup matches this month, and FIFA World Cup coming in June of next year. But we're in a very fragile state, and this city has been able to fund a lot of great things because it's had a healthy and thriving downtown. And we need to get back to that. And we need to get the engine going again so we can fund a great school system and a park system and human services and all the other things we enjoy in the city of Seattle. It was just a couple of years ago we imposed a payroll tax on some of the larger employers in our city, and that was referred to as the jumpstart tax. It was supposed to jumpstart our economy and our recovery. It's done great things for Bellevue. It's sent a lot of jobs there, and they've had more office leasing activity than Seattle has in the last 2 to 3 years. And I think this one will do the same. This one's been called the Seattle Shield measure. It's going to shield us from the effects of Trump. What it's going to shield us from is companies located in Seattle. And that's not good for business. It's not good for the tax base. It's ultimately not good for the quality of life in our city. So we seem to only have one response to the challenges we face, which is to raise more and more taxes. And then we scratch our heads wondering why this city's so dang expensive.
John, you mentioned and you make great points for your point of view. And you mentioned that, the answer is not increasing taxes. But again, this is a proposal that we hear from so many small business owners who say we're drowning and we need some help.
So implement
it's
that.
Not like, it's not like Amazon is. It's not like Amazon is hurting.
We should implement that part of the proposal. But the kicker here is that the city of Seattle is sitting on more than $100 million of unspent money in this year's budget. And there's not a budget deficit. Let's be clear here. The city will collect a record amount of tax revenue this year. So the tax revenue is not fallen off a cliff just yet. I think there's a risk there if we continue to erode the commercial tax base. But city coffers are growing. They don't have a budget deficit problem. They have a spending problem. And they have dollars that they haven't spent yet that are underspent across city departments and programs. They should use those to shore up their budget in the coming year. This is an unnecessary tax increase. We should move forward with the tax decrease so that we can incentivize more businesses to grow and locate in our city. That's how we grow the tax base ultimately. And so there are elements of this proposal that I think are a good idea, and we suggested them 3 years ago. They should be implemented.
John,
but let's not kid ourselves. Dog food on a plate tastes bad whether it's got whipped cream on it or not.
Yeah, okay. Let's reset for a second. You've come on this show, and you just said that this is boneheaded. So when you say boneheaded and you go that extreme, that is basically saying that this is so ridiculous that any other proposal can be looked at. And then a second ago, you said that there does seem to be some conversations. So here's my question, because I want to be very specific as we are talking about Amazon, the biggest business in the world that is located here in Seattle. My question to you is this. What social responsibility do you think comes with being the richest business in the world with Amazon right here in Seattle?
A significant one, and the largest employer in our city pays the most taxes in our city and has for the time that they've been here. And they've paid a record amount of taxes. They've paid when they've developed their new buildings in downtown. They've had to contribute to affordable housing and additional transit and other public space improvements. So they've made significant investments in our city. They're the largest ratepayer to the district that we run that supports the Downtown Ambassador program. So they have a significant responsibility, and they've made significant contribution. And they, and like other employers, also have choices for where they want to operate.
Sure.
And they've made the choice over the last 5 years to locate tens of thousands of jobs outside of Seattle.
So
and that ultimately hurts small business in Seattle and hurts our tax base.
Yeah.
And they're not the only ones that have those choices. And we have empty space, both in offices and retail, that we want to fill, because that means more job creation in our city. It means more taxes coming out of downtown, which means less of a tax burden for our neighborhoods.
Well, let me say the quiet part out loud.
So that's the recipe we need to grow our tax base.
I agree, John. But the quiet part out loud is this. If the top 1%, the biggest business in the world, which is located in Seattle, if they're not paying their appropriate share of the tax and not being taxed higher, then this is going to fall on the other small businesses that are here. And by the way, Seattle is already tough. Gentrification happened in this state, so I know a little bit about what it is like to be priced out of here. So we can't pick and choose when Seattle is unaffordable, because it is unaffordable. Remember the Central District? I know that's down from downtown. The Central District was gentrified because this place has been priced out for people. So it's crazy to me that the top 1% businesses don't get taxed appropriately.
The top 1% are paying the majority of the taxes in our city today.
I know, but proportionately, John, it's a hard thing for small business owners to hear that, knowing that Amazon's just doing fine, and that there are so many small businesses that are really, one who just texted in a listener of our show who had to shut down her business at Pike Place Market because of all the taxes. And so I think a lot of them...
we should lower those taxes. We should exempt them from the B&O. That's something we agree with. But we shouldn't kid ourselves that we have a clear sense of who is wrapped up in this tax proposal, because nobody really knows yet. It's brand new. The homework hasn't been done. So there's 1,899 other companies besides Amazon on that list. And if you remember, several years ago, the city proposed the head tax for the first time. And it was ultimately repealed 3-4 weeks later as people discovered who else was going to be impacted by this. Grocery stores and Wajimaya and other businesses that had low margins and that were struggling. And that's true in this case as well. And we face some of the most significant economic uncertainty that we have in quite some time, largely coming out of Washington, D.C., right? Yeah. And I think this is the wrong way for local leaders to address and deal with those issues. We saw this several years ago.
Yeah, John,
this
unfortunately,
case of Trumpitis, where we come up with dumber ideas to his dumb ideas. And this is a dumb idea.
We're going to unfortunately have to end this interview because we're about 4 minutes late. John Skoll, CEO of the Downtown Seattle Association. We appreciate your time.
I always appreciate talking to you both.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Hey guys, it's Keith Dashafee from Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington, and we are not done celebrating 100 years of industry leadership. For a limited time, get $100 off every window, $100 off every door, or choose 60 months of 0% financing with no interest and equal payments. That's right, 100 years strong, and we're giving you more ways to save on the Pella difference. Schedule your free consultation today at PellaPNW.com. Thank you again for letting us serve you in the Northwest.
Considering selling your home or downsizing? Visit themadronagroup.com for no obligation counsel. The Madrona Group's team of John L. Scott experts makes it easy, guiding you to best pricing and timing, maximizing your profit with smart technology and unparalleled integrity. 5-star reviews and industry best according to Zillow, Google, Yelp, Facebook, and Redfin. This Saturday, hear the Madrona Group's Jason Fox on KIRO Newsradio's Home Matters. Maximize your home sale. Visit themadronagroup.com.
Fraud is rampant, and those on Medicare are targets. Medicare never makes cold calls, so when someone calls you and says they're from Medicare, hang up. If you get an offer for free medical equipment or services, toss it. When you get your medical statement, read it. And if anything looks suspicious, report it to the Senior Medicare Patrol with Sheba. Sheba is a free, unbiased service of the Washington State Office of the Insurance Commissioner. If you suspect fraud, search Medicare Sheba or call 800-562-6900.
Check out the Puyallup Tribe's Firecracker Alley's new location at 3509 72nd Street East in Tacoma. Stock up now for your 4th and enjoy great food at Firecracker Alley. 3509 72nd Street East in Tacoma. Open now through July 4th.
If you want that summer body you've always dreamed of, then this message is for you, ladies, and you men too. Get rid of extra stubborn fat and address areas of loose skin around the waistline, chin, and under the upper arms with ProSculpt, the new one-day instant permanent fat removal and skin tightening treatment. Maybe you've tried the lasers, fat freezing methods, even those new pills, but without the desired results. ProSculpt is different. It's minimally invasive, performed while fully awake, gentle, yet powerful. Designed to target the waistline, chin, neck, arms, and thighs, ProSculpt uses FDA-cleared plasma technology to deliver immediate, permanent fat-reducing and skin-tightening results, all in just one visit. If you want that summer body this summer, then you must act now. Go to ProSculpt.com today to schedule your free consultation. Get $250 off. For instant, permanent fat reduction and skin tightening, visit ProSculpt.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
If you need to hire, you know it takes time. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. You simply pick a time and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day.
Try Zip Intro for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
People matter isn't just a saying at Harnish Auto Family. It's how they do business. For over 40 years, they've built a stellar reputation on trust, respect, and great deals. Visit HarnishAutoFamily.com to find your next car. Harnish Auto Family. People matter. Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on mynorthwest.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
It is Gee and Ursula Show. Let's get to scenarios.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
Recently, I found out the new guy that I've been dating has a job that I didn't even know existed. He's a male escort, but more than that, he's a gigolo. I had to look that word up. He spends a lot of money on me, and that's nice. And I told my friend about it, and she was excited for me. She wanted to see a picture. I showed her. Well. She works in an upscale restaurant and told me that he's a regular. He comes in several times a month with much older women, like ladies in their 60s and 70s. I asked him about these older women, and he told me that they pay him to spend time with them and make them feel young again. He insisted that he's not being intimate with them, but I find that hard to believe. What else would they be paying him for? I asked him why he didn't tell me, and he said we were just getting to know each other, and it didn't seem necessary since we weren't serious. Now, I don't know what to do. Should I continue with this relationship? The financial side is tempting. Oh, my goodness. Oh, speaking of people being bought and paid for. 888-973-5476. Ursula, you have to bet on this topic.
The question. You should run. I'm sorry, but what is the difference between male escort and gigolo?
The same.
It's the same thing, right? I mean, so don't try to make one sound better than the other. Yeah. This guy is getting paid for his companionship and whatever else comes along with it, and he didn't say it to you at the beginning of your relationship because he probably figured you would run. And frankly, I believe that that's lying by omission. Again, if that's a big part and you're not willing to give it up and now you're in a relationship, run. It's not even a question. It's like I would question every other part of his morals and character.
You know, Ursula, before we get to you, Sophia, I want to just read the last line. The last line says, should I continue with this relationship? The financial side is tempting. Ursula, I find that a lot of topics, stories, things that we talk about today, so many people are just swayed by the money. And this money is fool's gold. Like, I know times are hard and it's struggling. People are suing for everything. There's lawsuits here, lawsuits there. And she's saying, should I stay in this relationship? But the money, the financial side is tempting. So that means she is willing to forget all of her moral, all her values, everything she stands for, because financially it's tempting. This is a microcosm of what we are dealing with in this country. So many people are being bought and paid for. So many people are willing to throw their damn values out the way and do it for the money. I just had to get that off my chest, Ursula. I'm telling you, it's crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
I know you wouldn't do it.
I definitely wouldn't do it.
I know you wouldn't do it. Let's see what Sophia got to say.
I don't even know where to go from this. You really put me in an interesting one there. You know, on the other side of it, a job is a job. Not like just for him, you know, that's his job.
I know you're trying to be a
I can't.
Devil's advocate, please.
A job is a job.
Kick him to the curb.
So we all have to do different things.
Nick!
You know, to each their own, I guess. But if you're thinking about a relationship with this guy, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. So there's that. But if the dude wants to get paid for this so-called attention, which I have my doubts, let him go for it. But if the money you think is talking to you, it's yelling trouble, as a matter of fact. So avoid that at all costs.
Well, Ursula, I got to tell you, I don't know what's going on. A lot of folks selling their values for some money. I know you wouldn't be with a gigolo.
I wouldn't. And you know what I love? And I'm just going to point it out today, because today is all about car tabs. Yeah. You paid your car tabs today.
Sure did.
It's not all about money for you.
More to Gee and Ursula Show. We got What's New at 11 next. Gee and Ursula.
He's a thriller. He takes his time and does everything right. Knocks me out with one shot for the rest of the night.
Look
Looking for a simple solution to hair loss this summer? Get the same breakthrough one-day treatment I received at Advanced Hair during their once-yearly summer savings event. Your own natural hair begins to regrow the very next day, and Advanced Hair guarantees it will grow. Take advantage of your flexible summer calendar and get the most hair for your dollar during their best offer of the year. For details and a free consultation, call 425-449-8185, advancedhair.com.
Progressive. Protect your auto, home, and business with Progressive and get 24/7 coverage. See if you can save at Progressive.com.
KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle. Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk. A wireless company that actually stands for something.
If you need to hire, you know it takes time. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. You simply pick a time and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day.
Try Zip Intro for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com. Or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. At the Pentagon today, a combative briefing on the intelligence assessment of U.S. strikes on Iran. Linda Kenyon reports.
Joint Chiefs of Staff Dan Kane described the attack.
All 6 weapons at each vent at Fordo went exactly where they were intended to go.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth then attacked a reporter for asking if Iran had moved the enriched uranium off-site.
You've been about the worst. The one who misrepresents the most intentionally.
Secretary Hegseth also accused the media of hatred.
Your people are trying to leak and spin.
An independent full damage assessment of the bombings has not been conducted. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, Washington.
Iran's supreme leader resurfaced today, accusing President Trump of exaggerating the impact of the U.S. strikes. CBS's Imtiaz Tayeb is in Tehran.
Well, after days of silence, Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, congratulated his country's, quote, victory over Israel. But after nearly 2 weeks of intense fighting, Iran's airspace had been closed and over 600 people had been killed.
The Supreme Court has ruled states can block Planned Parenthood from getting Medicaid funding. More from correspondent Michael Wallace.
In a 6-3 decision, the court blocked Planned Parenthood and a patient from suing South Carolina for not making Medicaid funds available for cancer screenings, contraception, and other health services. CBS News chief legal correspondent Jan Crawford.
If you want to have Medicaid pay for some of your health care services, then the state's going to have more leeway in deciding who's going to be a qualified provider.
Planned Parenthood calls today's decision a grave injustice that promises to send South Carolina deeper into a health care crisis. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The Trump administration has filed a lawsuit against all 15 federal judges in Maryland over an order blocking the immediate deportation of migrants challenging their removals. Scott McFarland reports.
So they've sued every judge in the courthouse. That's unclear how that plays out. They'll have to find somebody to represent the judges. They may have to find a judge to come in and hear this case because all the other judges are defendants.
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy's new vaccine advisory committee has endorsed fall flu vaccinations, but says people should only be given shots free of an ingredient anti-vaccine groups have falsely tied to autism. New numbers out today show the economy shrank in the last few months. CBS's Jill Schlesinger.
Most economists believe that the shrinking of the U.S. economy in the first quarter will reverse itself when the second quarter numbers are released.
And on Wall Street, stocks have been higher all day. The Dow Jones Industrial's currently up 355 points. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Machetes and homeless camps. The story coming up, but first from the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk. In Seattle, the crash has been cleared from the northbound lanes of 1st Avenue South and South Spokane Street. You had an earlier crash on I-5 northbound near South Alborough Place. You're still slow to Boeing Field. Travel time Federal Way to Seattle, 39 minutes, about 10 longer than usual. And you're bogged down along JBLM from the Lewis Army Museum to Madigan Army Medical Center. Your drive from Tacoma to Olympia is about 5 minutes longer at 40 minutes. Traffic brought to you by KIRO Newsradio.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Investigators are working to determine what caused a boat to catch fire at a marina, sending huge plumes of smoke above Seattle's Lake Union. Witnesses saying,
"We felt a ginormous explosion. The windows kind of came in a little bit."
The fire spread to the marina. Fire crews called in a second alarm yesterday and worked from land and water. The boat sank, but no one was injured. The Coast Guard is working today to clean up and contain any pollution. Seattle police are investigating 2 separate attacks at local homeless camps.
King County Prosecutor's Office spokesperson Casey McNerthney tells me last week a homeless man already armed with a machete and a Queen Anne green belt attacked a Seattle police officer with that homemade spear.
It went through his jacket. The spear struck the officer in the abdomen.
Officers were clearing a homeless camp there. Tuesday night, a man slashed a victim with a machete near a homeless camp in Lake City. No arrest in that case. The man with the spear was charged with assault. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Washington State is going to pay a protester injured during a 2020 George Floyd demonstration $825,000. A state trooper fired a rubber bullet, hitting Nikita Tarver in the eye. The state attorney general's office says the settlement does not admit fault. Some Seattle city leaders want to overhaul the city's B&O tax to help smaller businesses, but the proposal is not without controversy.
Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell, alongside City Council member Alexis Mercedes Rink, proposing cuts for small and medium-sized businesses alongside a tax hike for corporations. Councilmember Rink.
We're asking the largest corporations to pay their fair share, and we're asking them to contribute to the community that made their success possible.
The Downtown Seattle Association likens the tax change to a self-inflicted wound. Here's President John Scholes.
We've seen Amazon, move a lot of jobs outside of Seattle and grow elsewhere. We hope that that's not the choice that many other companies are faced with.
Gwen Baumgartner, KIRO News Radio.
The Seahawks are bringing back a familiar face.
Murray lets it fly. Harrison Jr. can't get it picked off. Shaq Griffin.
Cornerback Shaq Griffin's rejoining Seattle on a one-year deal. Griffin started his career here in 2017 and made the Pro Bowl in 2019. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Cloudy skies today with highs in the mid-60s. It's 63 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO Newsradio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
What's up, everybody? It is the Gee and Ursula Show. Happy Thursday, June 26th. And I just figured out something, Ursula.
What's that?
It takes a lot of energy to do what I do every day. And I'll tell you why. Because today, as I'm giving my regular energy off,
yes,
I notice how run down and tired I'm getting.
To get you all riled up, like our interview with CEO John Scholes, who we love. But man, today, John, my friend, you didn't even give us a chance to ask you questions.
I will. I want to just, because I know John listens to the show. John, much love for you, brother. Just so you know, it was a passionate discussion that we were having. Can't wait to have you back on again.
Yeah.
But because people
take a breath every once in a while.
Like every now and then, there's topics that I get passionate about.
Yes.
And this is real. And so, John, thank you for coming on our show.
Yes, thank you. And we are just in disagreement with how much Amazon pays proportionally compared to small business owners.
Right.
And so that was a passionate discussion. But again, we want to have John Scholes on again.
And the biggest problem I had,
more chance
Ursula,
what's that?
was the fact that he called it boneheaded. Like, boneheaded?
You know what? It got I'm not a big proponent of calling names, but he got the message across, and it got probably more traction than if he had.
You're always looking at the news side of things.
I'm just keeping it real. I mean, how many times have we said that phrase now? Because he got our attention.
He did.
Okay. Anyway, text us 888-973-5476 888-973 KIRO. We are experimenting with YouTube. If you listen to our interview, maybe you were watching the show, you saw the interview with John Scholes because we had video with him on YouTube. And we're about to put a very important message on YouTube. So if y'all are watching, and this has to do with this debacle over car tabs.
Let me see what they're talking
about. So G has a very important message for you if you are one of the nearly 600,000 people who have expired car tabs right now in the state of Washington. G has an important message. But right now,
top stories at 11
on the Gee and Ursula Show.
And our top story this hour, last week in Seattle, there was a standoff with an ex-convict who was accused of shooting his girlfriend. He had opened fire on officers. Seattle police called in reinforcements. But we're finding out that the reinforcement wasn't officers, but technology, like drones from neighboring law enforcement agencies. So we want to know why, and our reporter, KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey, is here to explain why.
Yeah, it's a really interesting story this turns out to be. Let's just take it back real fast for the recap. A really chaotic scene there on Friday, just before 5 a.m. Seattle police responded to a 911 call off East Madison Street. They say the suspect in this case, Daniel Jolliffe, shot his girlfriend, then fired at officers from the second floor of an apartment there. A 3-hour standoff ended when the 53-year-old then turned his gun on himself. What I don't think a lot of people listening realize is during that standoff, Seattle police had to scramble to borrow surveillance technology like drones from other agencies because they're not allowed to buy or use drones themselves. For example, toward the end of the standoff, according to a source that I know, police flew a drone inside that apartment to locate Jolliffe to prevent a SWAT team walking blindly into potential danger. In that critical moment, with an active shooter in that neighborhood, Seattle police did not have the tools. They had to ask for them. In fact, a total of 6 nearby police departments responded to SPD's request, and they brought their own technology to that scene.
Okay, so again, remind us why we don't, in the city of Seattle, does not have their own drones?
This started back in 2013 when Mayor Mike McGinn at the time shut down SPD's drone program. Seattle Surveillance Ordinance then was created in subsequent years. It requires SPD to get city council approval to buy or use any surveillance technologies, including drones and robots. There is an exemption in that ordinance for acquiring and using surveillance equipment in the event of an emergency situation that poses imminent risk of death or harm. But that's the rule. For instance, it's really been an uphill challenge for SPD to get their hands on technology. Have you all heard of throw phones, like the negotiators use?
Yes.
It's technology that they'll, if you don't know, throw into windows to get the suspect communication devices so they can talk to them. Well, SPD just really in the last couple of years got city council approval to buy and use throw phones. Other departments have been using throw phones for the last 20 years.
Okay, so my question would be, so that happened during Mayor Mike McGinn's time, former mayor.
Bike lanes, Mike McGinn?
Yeah, that guy, the bike mayor. So my question is there a push? Because it seems ridiculous that the biggest police department in the state of Washington has to borrow from neighboring law enforcement agencies to be able to have these tools that clearly are needed in some situations.
Absolutely. There is a process underway right now, according to one independent news site, Hard Pressed. They say that SPD is in the process of asking now for permission to use drones. The big debate is, along the ethical lines and others, back in 2013, 2012, there was this feeling that drones were intrusive. Police are going to use them to spy on people. So the question is, has that changed between then and now? With their current position of asking for permission, here's the deal, though. Again, that uphill battle. They submitted, according to Hard Pressed, a plan in 2023. In 2024, the city said a surveillance impact study needed to be done. Now it's 2025, and they still have no drones, and you had something like Friday's incident.
Well, thank you for bringing this to our attention, and maybe now with the new police chief and new makeup of city council, maybe they might have a better chance of getting some kind of forward movement on that.
Absolutely, and you can read more about this story on mynorthwest.com.
Luke Ducey, I just want to say before you go.
Yes.
I love how every story that you cover with the same intensity and effort throughout. And that doesn't happen with everyone. So I just want to say it can be the ball crossed the road and you would still research the hell out of it. Thank you for everything you do.
We're going to make that ball crossing the road exciting for you. Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
I love the way you explain things. Thank you, Luke.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about these copper thieves that are messing things up with Sound Transit. I mean, it's not just a nuisance, it is a safety risk. Over the past week, thieves have hit the 2 line at least twice, once near Wilburton Station on Saturday, and then again Tuesday near Belred Road. And in both cases, they stole copper wire from the tracks, knocked out power systems, and forced service shutdowns. Riders even had to switch to buses while crews made these emergency repairs. And Sound Transit Police Chief Marcus Williams tells KIRO 7 TV these thefts are happening overnight when the trains aren't running. This is happening between midnight and 2 a.m.
I've been talking to chiefs nationally. This is happening all over the country. This isn't just local to Sound Transit. We're definitely trying to deal with the issue as best as possible.
Sound Transit is now stepping up patrols. They're going to be checking nearby security cameras, and they're basically also asking the public, if you happen to see anything and you think, okay, that's unusual and it's happening in the middle of the night, no one's looking, please report it.
Yo, LA Fitness, Ursula, down in Tacoma on 72nd. Shout out to anybody that works out at that LA Fitness right on 72nd Ave, right in the same parking lot as the Winco. In that parking lot. So someone went in there and they had to have had an electrical background because they were really good. They went in and took out all of the stuff for the LA Fitness. So it was out of power for like 4 days. 4 days it was out of power. This wasn't just a quick clipping of a wire. No, they strategically knew exactly what they were doing. This happened like a month ago.
Yeah.
It was closed for 4 days. So this really puts an impact on businesses.
Oh, it sure does. And I mean, when you talk about safety risk when it comes to Sound Transit, first of all, it shouldn't be this easy, and I'm glad to hear that Sound Transit says they're going to be stepping up patrols, et cetera. There's got to be tougher enforcement as well. Metal theft, I looked into this. Metal theft tops $1 billion a year in losses nationally. But here in the Pacific Northwest, so just Oregon and Washington, we're a hot spot for this kind of theft. Police say it's often committed by drug-addicted thieves who see this as an easy way to make a quick buck without fear of getting caught. And so in Washington and Oregon, we account for 25% of all North American thefts.
Whoa.
Yes. Yeah. I was today years old finding that out.
Didn't you and Long Live Mark just get
catalytic converter?
Catalytic converter.
Yes. Yes. I was hoping that we finally could put to rest our 2003 Honda Pilot.
Right.
Because that engine sounded so loud, and we're like, okay, this is it. This is finally it.
And you were happy.
I was happy. I was like, okay, finally, it can't run anymore because we're going to run that till it cannot run.
And then what happened?
And now we found out, insurance covers it too. We have pretty good insurance. Insurance covers it. Someone stole our catalytic converter. Park and ride lot. Thanks. Okay. The other thing, though, is state DOT is reporting that over 500,000 losses this year alone just from stolen copper wire.
Yeah.
So, again, I mean, this is a huge problem, and I hope that if anyone sees someone doing something, say something.
I messed up.
What's that?
My people from Tacoma, I said 72nd Avenue is 72nd Street. My bad, Tacoma.
Oh.
My bad. I messed up.
It's a big difference between
I got the parking lot right? I got that one.
Okay, it's not as bad as my mess up today when I looked at your tabs today. January 25. Gee, you're good.
Tim in Seaback says, I'm a telco tech for CenturyLink. We are having a lot of theft of copper, even here in Port Townsend.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so
there you go. I mean, yeah, it's everywhere. And again, it's just, okay, when I looked, and right now, the value, okay, so basically it's a Class B felony if you are caught. I mean, especially stealing from utilities or public systems like train lines. It's theft in the first degree, a Class B felony. It could mean up to 10 years in prison.
I'm with Maureen in the 253.
What's that?
Who's buying the copper?
That's it. Do you remember how in Olympia, basically scrap yards that buy these, they face fines of up to $10,000 for buying stolen copper. And penalties would double on repeat violations. I just think there's a lot of people doing it and not saying a darn thing.
Yeah.
Okay, one more. I know you and I don't particularly do a lot of hiking, but this is for just recognizing that there are a lot of people who hike. And King County search and rescue crews have been called out 5 times in just this past week to a mailbox peak near North Bend.
Okay.
If you've ever hiked the trail, and I've not, but I know my husband has, you know why that is the case. It's not your Sunday stroll in the woods. It is 4,000 feet of elevation gain over nearly 10 miles, and it will humble even the best of hikers.
Okay.
I'm told. So a lot of folks think, it's close to Seattle. How hard could it be? Well, it's hard. And that's why we're getting all these search and rescue calls. And a lot of these are because people are dehydrated, or they have leg cramps, or they have falls, or they get stuck after dark because they didn't pack a headlamp, or they didn't figure out how long it would take to summit and then return. And so the search teams say, this happens every single year. And they are urging hikers to take it a lot more seriously, bring enough water and electrolytes, wear the right shoes. If a place is called Widow's Peak, you probably don't want to try hiking it in your flip-flops.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Yeah. But here's the question, though. And it's a
by the way,
question.
Whatever question you ask, I want you to answer first.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Should hikers who go unprepared and end up needing rescue be required to help pay for the cost of that rescue? And you want me to answer first, and I will say no. However, I mean, unless it's especially egregious, or if someone has been warned not to go.
You're warning people now. Wait a minute. It's the same warning that we give when Sully gets on here and talks about having the correct tires to go over the pass in the winter.
Yeah.
Look here.
Same warning. You could get pulled over if you don't have your car tabs and you keep driving around.
Not in the state of Washington. Not right now. The police say they don't pull you over.
No, that's not true. A bunch of people texted and said,
No, they don't pull you over.
No, one officer said that.
No, cops don't pull you over. Hey, police, Washington State Patrol, all of you all, text in right now. Do you
They
pull
can do it. They don't generally do it.
But not for that. That can't be the primary reason you get pulled over.
It can be. It generally is not, though. Most will not pull you over for that.
It's a law now.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
That cannot be the primary reason.
I'm going to have to look that up.
Let me get back to the point.
Get back to
you started out at an answer because you tried to go in between. I'm going to say this.
I said no. I said unless it's especially egregious, like you've been warned, and you were negligent.
So you don't think that they should be charged?
That they should pay for the bill just yet.
Yes, you should. If you go hiking, and you got on flip-flops, and you have no water bottle, and you have to call the search and rescue team, that comes out of your check. Put a lien on your house to pay for that expense. If you are driving, right, east of the mountains, and you don't have the right tires during that, knowing it's bad weather, that taxpayer money, how come we all got to pay for everything?
Well, according to, right now the volunteers and all of us are footing the bill, and I did look it up, and I was trying to see, are there any jurisdictions that actually make people pay? There are jurisdictions that are considering it, including Skamania County. Think about near Mount St. Helens. They were thinking about an ordinance, apparently, that would fine hikers up to $1,000 if they require rescue because they were reckless or unprepared. So, again, I'm going to put it out there. Text line 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. Should you be fined if you go hiking unprepared and it requires a rescue? And while you're at it, if you're not prepared and you were talking about you get in an accident and you have bald tires, I mean, is that the same thing?
Not an accident. That's different. But if you go over into a ditch, that is. But wait a minute. Right now, there's some turbulence right now. Some are saying, it changed back. The rule
I'm looking it up right now.
About being pulled over. Now, I know law enforcement, y'all be listening to the show. We need help. Ursula is going to go ahead and check this out during the break. And then when we come back, we're going to be doing an agree to disagree. And Ursula will let you know if you can get pulled over for having expired tabs, being the primary reason you got pulled over. We do that next. Gee and Ursula. This hour is brought to you by DUI Heroes.
Jake and Spike.
How you doing today?
Fabulous.
You're looking a little, are you a little glum?
No,
oh, you're fabulous.
Fabulous. I'm faking it till I make it.
Good for you.
I'm a transmission fluid half full kind of guy.
Oh, that's nice.
How's that?
You need that today.
I do need that.
Because you're having some car troubles. Is that okay that I tell people that?
Yeah, of course it is. We live our lives. We live our lives for the betterment and enjoyment of this city.
The Jake and Spike Show.
Weekdays, noon to 3.
On KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
Hey there, Dawn Riling with Olympic Hot Tub. Today is the last day to save big during our mid-year clearance spectacular. All 8 of our Puget Sound showrooms are open until 6 p.m. This is your last chance for incredible savings on one-of-a-kind saltwater hot spring spas, plus deep discounts on pre-owned tubs, swim spas, and saunas. Do not miss this. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub.
Someone says they're from Medicare? Hang up. Medicare never cold calls. Offered free medical equipment or services? Toss it. It's likely a scam. Got your Medicare statement? Read it. Spot something strange? Report it. You can fight it. The Washington State Office of the Insurance Commissioner Fraud Prevention Service is free, unbiased, and here for you. Search Washington Medicare Fraud or call 800-562-6900. That's 800-562-6900.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8157. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-8157. That's 800-575-8157.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey guys, it's Keith Dashafi from Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington, and we are not done celebrating 100 years of industry leadership. For a limited time, get $100 off every window, $100 off every door, or choose 60 months of 0% financing with no interest and equal payments. That's right, 100 years strong, and we're giving you more ways to save on the Pella difference. Schedule your free consultation today at PellaPNW.com. Thank you again for letting us serve you in the Northwest.
Considering selling your home or downsizing? Visit themadronagroup.com for no-obligation counsel. The Madrona Group's team of John L. Scott experts makes it easy, guiding you to best pricing and timing, maximizing your profit with smart technology and unparalleled integrity. 5-star reviews and industry best according to Zillow, Google, Yelp, Facebook, and Redfin. This Saturday, hear the Madrona Group's Jason Fox on KIRO Newsradio's Home Matters. Maximize your home sale. Visit themadronagroup.com.
I've got to get a new car, and things are crazy right now. 1 minute costs are up, the next minute it's something new.
Go to Subaru Puyallup. Their stress-free promises never changed. Through natural disasters, supply hiccups, you name it.
So they're still holding today's prices?
Yeah, they have over 300 Subarus still at current rates and guaranteed stress-free pricing and trade-ins. You should get in now.
I really need to swing by there. Want to go with?
Let's go.
Secure today's pricing on tomorrow's car at Subaru Puyallup, your stress-free dealership.
Need a new roof but not in the budget? A new roof doesn't have to break the bank. Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors here. Right now, State Roofing and Exteriors is offering 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's 2 years with no payments while getting the protection your home deserves. But this offer won't last forever. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to get on our summer schedule now. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Hi, it's John Curley. Longevity Medical Clinic has been helping people live longer, healthier lives for more than 25 years. I've recently talked with Dr. Mixon about his approach to proactively focusing on prevention. Dr. Mixon, I first met you in 2009, and I went in there and I told you I wasn't feeling well, couldn't gain any muscle mass, couldn't sleep well, I was stressed out, and you looked at me and you said, yeah, I know what your problem is.
And all we did was we measured your values and we moved your values back to those of a nice, healthy 25-year-old man.
I have taken your blood work to my doctor, and he was shocked. He couldn't believe the depth in which you study my blood.
We need to draw a distinction between living a long time and getting old. And that's what longevity is all about, is we are here to do the measurements and help you fix those problems.
So get your free health analysis. Go to longevitymedicalclinic.com. That's longevitymedicalclinic.com.
Right now, Kia of Everett has over 400 new vehicles available. And the great part, they're tariff-free. Hi, I'm Eric Butler, the general manager with Kia of Everett. Tariff-free means you're going to save thousands of dollars. And our terrific lease and financing offers can help you purchase your new Kia now while the timing is right. The best drive to tariff-free savings is to Kia of Everett, where we make owning a new Kia simple, easy, and fun. Visit Kia of Everett at kiaofeverett.com.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Cars for Kids, your trusted charity for car donations, also accepts donations of boats, RVs, motorcycles, and real estate. Call today, 877-CARS4KIDS.
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and MyNorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. A U.S. Supreme Court ruling today could have wide-ranging implications for Planned Parenthood. It means states can refuse to allow patients to use their Medicaid coverage at Planned Parenthood for non-abortion services. Legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum says the ruling stems from a case in South Carolina.
The plaintiff argued that she has the right to choose the doctor she gets to see under Medicaid, especially in areas where not every doctor accepts Medicare and Medicaid. The Supreme Court disagreed.
Planned Parenthood provides cancer screenings and other health care services apart from abortion. Union workers at Seattle's Federal Building are demanding an end to ICE raids and arrests at workplaces. This man picketing yesterday says enforcement is dangerous and disruptive.
ICE is genuinely detaining people in these buildings and holding them overnight, too, and what are supposed to be regular workplaces.
No comment from ICE. The head of ICE's Seattle field office is describing a local immigration detention center as, quote, lovely, despite controversy.
The Northwest Detention Center is the focus of a series of reports by UW's Center for Human Rights, noting an increase in reports of suicide attempts at the facility, as well as concerns about cleanliness and health conditions. Seattle's ICE field director, Kamala Wamsley, has been in her role for 2 months, but says this about the facility's current conditions.
This is a lovely facility. There are inspections that happen weekly and daily inspections.
The field director announced plans to invite Washington lawmakers to tour the facility later this summer. Gwen Baumgartner, KIRO News Radio.
New numbers show the U.S. economy shrank more than first reported in the first quarter of the year. But CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger says fears over tariffs played a role.
Companies started to import very aggressively in the first 3 months of the year. Most economists believe that the shrinking of the U.S. economy in the first quarter will reverse itself when the second quarter numbers are released.
Beef prices are up as we approach the 4th of July holiday, and not just for premium cuts. You'll pay about 4% more for that ground beef to make your hamburgers. Shoppers tell KIRO 7 TV.
Being on a fixed income, it's very difficult.
I'm still going to buy it no matter what.
Why is that?
Because I like meat.
The Washington State Beef Commission says drought is contributing to a shortage of beef, driving up prices because dry weather means less grass to feed herds. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 388 points. NASDAQ is ahead 204. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, in Belfair, traffic is alternating on State Route 3 at the site of a crash. You're slow from the northeast Old Belfair Highway to southwest Lake Flora Road. In Seattle, you had an earlier crash on I-5 northbound near South Alborough Place. Still a bit slow to Boeing Field. Travel time Federal Way to Seattle is about 10 minutes longer than typical. And you're bogged down on southbound I-5 along JBLM from the Lewis Army Museum to Tillicum. Your drive from Tacoma to Olympia is about 12 minutes longer at 47 minutes. Traffic brought to you by Seattle Sports. Search Seattle Sports on YouTube and click subscribe to get fresh video content daily. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Cloudy skies with highs in the mid-60s. It is 63 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the Gee and Ursula Show. This has been quite a show and just lots of moving parts. But I want to give yet another public service announcement. Yep. Because before the break, Gee, you and I were disagreeing on whether law enforcement can pull you over for expired car tabs as a primary offense.
Right.
I said yes, and you said no.
I said no.
And you made me doubt myself after I made a fool of myself when I went into the parking lot thinking that you had current tabs.
And then you went to go snitch. You asked ChatGPT, and I'm like, I don't know if ChatGPT got the sources right.
Yes. Well, so now we've got 360 texting in.
Listen to what this cop says.
For the love of God, I'm a cop working right now. Yes, you can pull over a car for expired tabs as a primary stop, and I do pull people over for this type of infraction.
Matter of fact, he's on his way over here now.
He said, yeah. Now they're like, well, we could pull you over, G, if you were driving out of the parking lot. However, because of our conversation, G and many of our listeners who admitted they also have not paid their car tabs and are part of that nearly 600,000 Washington drivers who may not have current tabs, you are now current.
I am current.
You don't have the plastic thing. You don't have the little
But I'm legit
sticker,
current.
But you're current.
I'm current. Mac in Bellevue, who is another law enforcement, he texts us telling the same thing, that you can be pulled over as a primary offense. And then he sends me a meme of Day from Friday After Next. If you know, you know. And then last one, 206, police officer here. Per the RCW, a police officer in Washington State can pull you over as a primary offense for having expired tabs. With that being said, there can be exceptions to certain cities like Seattle to have a city ordinance code that says that police officers cannot stop you for that, or at least they wouldn't file on it. But I can't speak for each individual city. So,
which is why it is confusing. And by the way, it had changed.
Yeah.
And then the legislature changed it, right? So there is confusion. But here's the thing. Just get it done.
Yep.
We all need to contribute. Yeah. Okay, that's my message.
By the way, the thing is, I just want to show you all something. It's okay being wrong about something.
Yes.
It's okay. Like you.
Yes.
Like I didn't lose money. Or I didn't lose my life for being wrong and admitting that I was wrong about something. All right. Agree to disagree. Brought to you by Gardner Roofing and Gutters.
Before we go to agree to disagree, though, I want to put something up for everyone on YouTube.
Yes.
I want to say it was Rob in Puyallup that sent this over. You did get your tags renewed after all of this conversation, and I think you've become a spokesperson of sorts. And he sent this image in to us.
And you about to put that on YouTube.
On YouTube
it is
right
on
now.
YouTube. If you have a chance to get on a computer and check it out. G is now a spokesperson.
Okay, you can't pay attention to Rob in Puyallup. That dude, this is what he wants. He wants this type of attention right here.
Rob is also the guy who sent stickers and said, G is always right. So Rob is a big fan of yours. Okay?
Wait a minute. And Rob, hey, man, can I get a better picture? Can I get an updated picture? Man, I got neck fat right there. Come on, Rob. Get a better picture of me.
Okay, we're going to do agree to disagree. We're going to get one.
One of these days, we got to take
one question in.
Just really go at it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Anyway, for agree to disagree, I wanted to talk to you guys about dress code in different environments, if that exists or not. A woman on TikTok was upset because she was reprimanded at Disney World for showing up in a workout set. And basically, I guess they told her she had to put on a different shirt. Otherwise, she couldn't stay in the park.
Was it a tank top?
She was wearing just like a gym, like a sports bra and a pair of leggings. I can also put that up for
kind
you
of
to
this.
see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Look, it just looks like the very basically leggings.
Wait a minute.
And
they didn't let her in?
No, they complained about it, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll describe it, G. Okay, because people can't see it. Okay, right now it's on YouTube.
Okay, she got that. You can put it back for me. She's got that same look.
It's got the Lululemon pants.
It's the Lululemon pants. By the way, Lululemon pants be doing out here wonders. You want to talk? I mean, them Lululemon pants can really. I don't know. If you know, you know. Anyway, this picture, this picture right here, she's got this pose in the mirror, and she's got her cell phone, and she's got on, somebody was hating on her, Ursula, because she got the sports bra on, and she got the Lululemon pants. She looks fantastic, and they didn't let her in?
Well,
I thought it was going to be somebody with some juicy all over the back of the bum area. And
that was her point. This is a fit that you commonly see out. People wear gym attire out in public to run errands, run groceries. And so I think the big question is, when is it necessary to enforce dress code? Is it necessary? Have we gotten too relaxed? Or is it okay? What do you think?
Go ahead, G.
Well, This is a Gen Z problem. Ursula, if you go right now at your jobs, if you work with some of these young whippersnappers, and you can see the youngsters don't care nothing about dress codes. They don't come in. These are the folks that will wear a T-shirt and shorts to a funeral. You know what I'm saying? Like the Gen Z, I'm telling you.
So you just gave an example of where I think it would be inappropriate. Unless the family says, I want you to dress in T-shirts and be super casual at this funeral or this memorial service because that's how our dear departed loved one would want you to come, super comfortable. I would not be doing that. Okay, so that's where it would be inappropriate. Yeah. I know that a lot of times people make a big stink about how you dress on a plane. As long as you're covered and bathed, I don't care if you were wearing pajamas to a plane. I really don't.
I do.
I know you do.
I do.
But you're also in the front of the plane.
You can't
like at the back
just
of the
say
plane,
that.
you need to get comfortable.
And by the way, there's 118 people on YouTube because you posted that picture. Rob and Piala, man, you got a bad picture of me. Back to the topic. Ursula, when it comes to this, would you agree that Gen Z is messing up the dress code policies these days?
No, I hate those kind of statements. That is the one with a
you
big
always tell me
old
you
broom.
love my outfits, G. Now you're here to bring down my entire generation.
You and Nick are different. I tell Nick this all the time. Nick is a hard worker, got 3 and 4 jobs. You dress appropriately. These young Gen Z don't know how to dress. How many of you parents, grandparents, when people are getting ready to come over for Thanksgiving, how many times do you have to tell the young kids in your family, can you please dress appropriately?
But I think that happens in every generation.
It truly does. It really does. I don't think it's just, I think there are some people who just like to be slobs, and I think there are some people who like to be overexposed. And I will just remind you that when I first started working here, our news director came up to me. If I had shoes like the ones I have now, which are just sandals, happen to be open-toe sandals, he told me, he reprimanded me and said, those heels with open toes are unacceptable. He told me while I was working an in-house job. Yes. And he said, what if the mayor were to come walk through the newsroom? Like, I wanted to ask, but I was only 23. Like, does the mayor have a foot fetish? Right. I mean, what's the issue? Yeah.
Wow. Melinda in Bellevue said, G is definitely feeling better. He is out of control. Melinda, I am feeling better. But I just want to say, Lululemon, great for cheeks. Coming up next here on the Gee and Ursula Show, your text messages, feedback, and then we'll have Ursula's words to live by that I'm sure will be connected to me. We'll do that next. Gee and Ursula.
Escalation.
The U.S. attacks Iran.
For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America.
Stay with KIRO Newsradio for the very latest.
Iran launching missile attacks today on U.S. military bases in Qatar and Iraq. Retaliation for the American bombing.
And what it means here at home.
The Bremerton-based USS Nimitz is on its way to the Middle East.
Experience local voices you trust. Stay with KIRO Newsradio on 97.3 FM and mynorthwest.com.
Listen up, folks. This has nothing to do with car tabs. This is about you finding out about Chrome Hearts. Let me tell you, Urban Eyes over there in Kirkland Urban, they have cracked the code. That's right. They are one of the rare stores vetted by Chrome Hearts, giving us and you the exclusive honor to bring you pieces that scream luxury and style. I know. G loves luxury and style. This is the reason why you got to check this exquisite selection of Chrome Hearts out. Man, they're founded in 1988 in Los Angeles. This brand has worked with legends like Guns N' Roses and the Rolling Stones, and now you can rock that iconic eyewear without the travel hassle. So why wait? Elevate your style with this beauty. It is Chrome Hearts only right now at Urban Eyes. Urban Eyes is right there in the heart of Kirkland Urban, right across from QFC. Swing by today and see why everyone is talking about this brand. Urban Eyes in the heart of Kirkland Urban. That is myurbaneyes.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck.
And she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes. But when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Celebrate the red, white, and beautiful during the July 4th sale at Dania Furniture. Take up to 50% off an assortment of styles for your whole home. Be sure to shop early for the best deals. Stop by our 4 local showrooms today or shop online at DaniaFurniture.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. 1 discount per household.
You know what's faster than your paycheck? Literally everything. It's time to get your pay up to speed. With Earnin, you can access your pay as you work instead of waiting days and weeks for a paycheck. Get up to $150 a day with a max of $750 between paydays. No interest, no credit checks, and no mandatory fees. Because, hey, it's your money. Download the Earnin app now to get it and join millions of people making any day payday. That's EARNIN. Earnin is not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors available in select states. Expedited transfer is available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit Earnin.com for full details.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Experience the thrill of seeing orcas and humpback whales with Puget Sound Express. Join their family-run tours for guaranteed whale sightings, departing daily from Edmonds. These are Seattle's most popular and well-reviewed whale tours. Book now at PugetSoundExpress.com.
It is the Gee and Ursula Show. Your boy is back. Look, even in the first...
You're so glad that you feel better. Because you missed being here yesterday.
I did. I actually missed my old self. And I know we're going to get to the text messages. Poor Sophia. There are a lot of them. Like today, you guys are really texting a lot.
Yes.
But I want to start it off with when we had the conversation, Ursula, about those being like the hikers and asking for help. And the question was about taxpayer. You said no, they shouldn't be on the hook. I said yes. John Urquhart, former King County Sheriff, texts this. He says, paying for search and rescue is a great idea if you don't mind people dying. People will delay calling for a search if they think they might get charged. Delaying rescue means more people will die. Terrible idea. Does the fire department send you a bill even if you're being stupid? To which I sent John a text and said, you win. I want everybody to know.
Changed your mind.
I've been losing all day today. I've been losing all day, but that's okay because I don't care about losing. I finally feel better.
You do feel better. And you're not losing because today I watched you as you paid your car tabs. You are current. And so even if that cop who said I could give you a ticket as a primary offense if you drive out your lot, that's not going to happen because you are current. Okay. Regarding that topic, Jeff in Bonnie Lake said, when was the last time Ursula was on location with a hot story? This is exciting because I went out to the parking lot to check it out. And I was so wrong. Yeah. And by the way, out here in Bonnie Lake, we are hit with the huge RTA tax that doesn't even benefit us. We are the edge of the zone that pays. I still pay my tabs. I hate it, but I pay it. Thank you, Jeff.
Oh, full disclosure, it's 11:50. And I have not opened up News Boss at all today.
Is it open now?
No.
Okay. Dee from Bellevue says, man, I don't know how you do it. Dee from Bellevue says, just keep that in mind, folks. Dee from Bellevue says, G from spending $30,000 on airline tickets to car tabs.
Does she remember that? I told that number.
Yes, on work-life balance, but you also have a business.
Yeah.
Okay, Sharon in 206 says, I'm just like you as for pushing myself, because you shared at 947 that you push yourself to the point you get sick. And she says, especially on the social front. At 65, I'm still trying to learn self-care. I have survived multiple very serious health issues, yet I still struggle to let myself rest. That's not really promoted in our society. I'm glad you are back and feeling better, G. That's a lot of people, by the way.
Yeah.
It's hard to say no a lot of times.
Yeah.
Okay, 425 says, I totally get this. Just retired 2 days ago from 38 years of teaching. Who am I now? Time to find out. Catherine in Paulsbo says, rules don't change for us adrenaline junkies. You still have to take care of yourself. So happy you're feeling better and you are back. Regarding scam messages, Shelly in Federal Way says, I've gotten 2 scam texts for tickets that need to be paid this morning alone from the same guy. The scamming thing is just out of hand, and I am so worried for the elderly people who are getting scammed by these abhorrent jerks. I changed that last word. And then there is, on the small business tax proposal, Jeff in Everett says, it's a catch-22. I appreciate G's passion. He's absolutely right. The proportionate responsibility should be vastly higher than other businesses. Nobody cares that they ultimately pay more because their 3% is more than another 3%.
Yeah.
And then Kevin in Seattle said, that was a spirited debate on the B&O tax, guys. In a perfect world, part of the investment made in the city by the large companies would help the small businesses thrive as well.
Real quick, though, also, I want to give love to John Scholes because it's straight love between us, 1. 2, there might have been a situation where it was hard for him to hear.
Yeah.
Because we did have him live on video.
Yeah, and just in full disclosure, I did complain, and his right-hand guy, who I really appreciate too, said, I don't think he heard you, and so that's why he was talking over you. So we're good.
All right, everybody. Let's see if Ursula's words to live by have anything to do with me. Ursula?
Has everything to do with you.
Oh, man.
How you do anything is how you do everything. No, actually, this is a different one. This is a different one. What you do is not who you are. You are more than the job title you have. You are more than the company you work for. Your purpose is in your passion, not your paycheck. And I know you already told me you're working a lot this weekend, and I beg of you, my friend.
Yeah.
Try to take care of yourself a little better.
I will. I'm telling y'all, it feels so good to be back. And the good news is, Nick, it's Fresh Fridays tomorrow.
It's like night and day with you. You sound great today. But we all knew extra tolls and fees would happen soon enough. Macon Sully give us updates through his grieving huffs and puffs. But it's nothing in comparison to putting off your tabs, like G thinking he would come out clean without a bump or scab. But if listening to Ursula, you're well off in the clear. Seeing January 2025 is a date we're nowhere near. Let's just say I'm glad you paid for new ones and didn't take her word for it, okay?
Oh, real quick. Yesterday, did y'all talk about Jeff Bezos' wedding coming up?
Well, we've talked about it a couple of days. Yeah, we've talked about it.
And how much money people get to go to it? Did y'all talk about that?
No, we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Oh, we got to talk about it tomorrow.
Okay.
If y'all ain't heard, we got to talk about it. This is how much you get. Ursula, if you and Long Live Mark go to the weddings, you
wasn't
get a
invited.
certain, me either, you get a certain amount of money.
Wow. Probably to keep quiet.
Yeah, that's true. All right, it is Fresh Fridays tomorrow. Ursula, you going to be here?
No, the bigger question is, are you going to be here? Yeah, I'm going to be here.
Oh, that's a good point. Thank you, Sophia. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Nick, always appreciate what you do, man.
You too, man.
Hey, the Jake and Spike Show, they're coming in next. Make sure you stick around. We appreciate you for listening. Love you for that. And as always, be kind.
Hope you had as much fun as we have. So long, everybody.
Jake and Spike.
How you doing? Oh, fabulous.
You're looking a little, are you a little glum?
No,
oh, you're fabulous.
Fabulous. I'm faking it till I make it.
Good for you.
I'm a transmission fluid half full kind of guy.
Oh, that's nice.
How's that?
You need that today.
I do need that.
You're having some car troubles. Is that okay that I tell people that?
Yeah, of course it is. You know, we live our lives. We live our lives for the betterment and enjoyment of this city.
The Jake and Spike Show.
Weekdays, noon to 3.
On KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
You've worked hard, saved diligently, and now retirement is on the horizon. But will your nest egg go the distance? With rising cost and uncertain markets, there's no time for oversimplified plans. Hi, Jeff here with Madrona Financial and CPAs. Don't settle for a partial plan. Get the real deal by requesting your no-cost Madrona analysis today and discover what you may be missing. Call 833-673-7373 right now to request your analysis. That's 833-673-7373.
Hartley Wilcox here from Wilcox Family Farms. I've really enjoyed meeting so many of you at our recent egg demo events. I'm often asked, are omega-3 eggs really better for you? They sure are. Omega-3 eggs are an incredible source of natural omega-3s, providing on average 3 times that of other eggs. Eating omega-3 eggs promotes strong bones and joints and is proven to reduce cholesterol and blood pressure. Choose Wilcox Family Farms eggs today. Locally fresh since 1909.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news.
A minimum wage increase proposal is moving forward in unincorporated King County.
KIRO Newsradio.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
For more than 75 years, University of Maryland Global Campus has given you the opportunity to build your next success. Choose from more than 135 degree and certificate programs in career-relevant fields like business, healthcare, data analytics, cybersecurity, and more. Plus, we